Alright, right, so, hello everyone, as always, my name is Skitter, my name is SkitterSkreetch, I should say, you can call me Skitter, and I am a rat who is, as always, trapped inside of this accursed library, forced to read books for a sort of reason. You might notice some differences around here. Apparently Lamp has updated the wards again, so things should look a little bit different. Go to the big screen so you can have a look. I don't really tell myself, but then I'm seeing this directly with my eyes and you're seeing it through, actually no, Lamp sends this to you. You might can tell most people do this through some sort of computer stuff, but there's nothing like that here. There's just like screens and stuff floating in the air. So I'm not sure how that works. Magic probably. But yeah. So today we're going to be reading this book here. The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemmingway. But we have got some other books in I'm going to show you. First things first, and what I'm probably most excited about, while I was going through the London section, I've been digging through the books, I found another copy of Call of the Wild. Another one of these nice ones. This one got damaged in, what you call it, the thing where the bad book come in. You guys know the bad book, right? We're going to see the bad book briefly. Yeah, when this bad book come in, there was some damage done to some of the other books, or well, specifically to my copy of the Call of the Wild, and yeah, that happened, which was sad because that's a nice book, and I like it. So yeah, but now I've got a new copy, which is good. Aside from that being the case, there's also these 5 new books by London, which fill up our first shelf. This whole shelf here is filled now, on one side or the other. Couldn't fit another book in if I tried. Which, I mean, I guess it's not a very big achievement, but I feel it's important to me. It looks nice when you go over to the sort of main look at the library. Look at that, a whole shelf, all in one sort of volume. I mean, and I haven't even finished sort of digging out the London pocket yet, so I think I'm gonna, because like, those are all sort of similarly printed. Like you can see they're all sort of blue with the same sort of binding. So I reckon they're all from, so Lamp calls it a printing run. And yeah, I reckon they're all from the same printing run. So they all look the same like that. So I reckon there's a few, maybe like half a dozen-ish more in the sort of little area I'm digging through for them. I'm gonna have to put them on another shelf. I think I'll probably put them next to White Fang. They're smaller than the copy of White Fang I've got, but they'll look alright there. I think there'll be a little bit of space. But yeah, for the minute, still a full shelf. I'm real pleased with that. But yeah. So yeah, today though we're going to be talking, or we're going to be reading, The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemmingway. Lamp's told me a little bit about this one. It's apparently about fishing, and he says Hemingway's a very good writer. He says he's sort of, he compared him to someone else we've read. Oh, he compared him to Steinbeck, who we read The Mice and Men with. And Steinbeck he was a very good author. I did not particularly feel good after reading that book. It was quite a rough one in certain ways, but I did. It was a very good book. And that says this one's sort of similar in some way. I'm not quite entirely clear on that. But yeah, today's goal is going to be to get through this. Going to try and do the old thing. Yeah, we'll see how we get on. As always, you can presumably be watching this later. Theoretically, there could be someone watching it now, and if you are, don't tell me if there's anyone. If you are watching it now, you can feel free to chime in and ask questions, clarify. This one's a bit long. I don't know if it has chapters. I don't think it does. So I'll pause when I need to take a drink, and then we'll do a little bit of talking about it as we go on. Yeah, other than that, I think we'll just get started, really. Have a quick drink before we start. Ooh. I said, on water? I don't know how to describe it, really. That's weird. Sort of, bitey, but not in a bad way. Neat. So. You were an old man who fished alone in a skiff in the Gulf Stream, and you've gone 84 days now without taking a fish. In the first 40 days, a boy had been with him, but after 40 days without a fish, the boy's parents had told him the old man would now definitely and finally salau, which is the worst forms of unlucky. The boy had gone at their orders in another boat, which caught 3 good fish in the first week. It made the boy sad to see the old man come in each day with his skiff empty, and he always went down to help him carry either the coil lines or the gaff and harpoon, and the sail that were furled around the mast. The sail were patched with flower sacks, and, furled, it looked like the flag of permanent defeat. The old man was thin and gaunt, with deep wrinkles at the back of his neck. The brown blotches of the benevolent skin cancer the sun brings from its reflection on the tropic sea were on his cheeks. The blotches ran well down the sides of his face, his hands, and deep creased scars from handling heavy fish on the cord. But none of these scars was fresh. They were old as erosion, fishless desert. Everything about him were old except his eyes, and they were the same colour of the sea, and were cheerful and undefeated. Santiago, the boy said to him as they climbed the bank from where the skiff was over. I could go with you again. We made some money. The old man had taught the boy to fish, and the boy loved him. No, you were the lucky boy. Stay with them. But remember how you went 87 days without fish, and then we caught big ones every day for 3 weeks. I remember, the old man said. I know you did not leave me to fish it out. It was Papa made me leave. I am a boy and I must obey. I know, the old man said. He's quite normal. He hasn't much faith. No, the old man said. But we have, haven't we? Yes, the boy said. Can I offer you a beer on the terrace and then we'll take the stuff on? Why not? Between the fishermen. They sat on the terrace. Many of the fishermen made fun of the old man. They were not angry. Others, the older fishermen, looked at him and were sad. But they did not show it, and they spoke politely about the current, the depths they had drifted, their lines out in steady good weather, and what they had seen. The successful fishermen of that day were already in, and had butchered their marlin out and carried them laid full length across 2 planks, the 2 men staggering at the end of each plank to the fish house where they were waiting for the ice truck to carry them to the market in Havana. Those who had caught sharks, taken them to the shark factory on the other side of the cove. They were roasted on a block of tackle, their livers removed, their fins cut off and their eyes skinned out, their flesh cut into strips for salting. When the wind were in the east, the smell came across the arbour from the shark factory. But today there were only a faint edge of the odour, as the wind had backed into the north and then dropped off. It was pleasant and sunny on the terrace. Santiago, the boy said. Yes, the old man. You're holding his glass and thinking of many years ago. Can I go out to get sardines for you tomorrow? No. Go and play baseball. I can still row, and Rogelio would further me. I would like to go. If I cannot fish with you, I would like to serve in some way. You bought me a beer, the old man said. You were already a man. How old was I when they first took me out on a boat? When you first took me in a boat? 5, and you nearly were killed when I brought the fish in too green, and you nearly tore the boat to pieces. And you remember? I remember the tail snapping and banging, and the thwart breaking, and the noise of the clubbing. I can remember you throwing me into the bow where the wet coiled lines were, and feeling the whole boat shiver, and the noise of you clubbing him like chopping a tree down, and the sweet blood smell all over. And you really remember that, or did I just tell it? I remember everything when we first got together. The old man looked at him with a sunburnt, confident love in eyes. If you were my boy, I'd take you out and gamble, he said. You are your father's and your mother's, and you are in your lucky boat. May I get the sardines? I know I can get 4 baits too. I have mine left from today. I put them in salt in the box. Let me get 4 fresh ones. 1, the old man said. His hope and his confidence had never gone. Now they were fresh in him, as when the breeze rises. 2, the boy said. 2, the old man. You didn't steal them? I would, the boy said, but I bought these. Thank you, the old man said. He was too simple to wonder when he had attained humility, but he knew he had attained it, and he knew it was not disgraceful and it carried no less loss of true pride. Tomorrow is going to be a good day with the car, he said. Where are you going? The boy asked. Far out to come in when the wind shifts. I want to be out before it is light. I tried to get him to work that far. to work far out, the boy said. Then if you hook something truly big, we can come to your aid. He does not like to work too far out. No, the boy said. I will see something that he cannot see, such as a bird working, and get him to come out after dog. Are his eyes that bad? He is almost blind. It is strange, the old man said. He never went dirty. That is what kills the eyes. You went hunting for years of the mosquito coast, and your eyes are good. I am a strange old man. Are you strong enough now for a truly big fish? I think so, and there are many tricks. Let us take the stuff home, the boy said. I can get the cast net and go after the sardines. They picked up the gear from the boat. The old man carried the mast on his shoulder. The boy carried the wooden box with the coil of hard-braided brown line, the gaff and the harpoon with the shaft. The box with the bait were under the stern of the skiff, along with a club that we used to subdue the big fish when they were brought alongside. No one would steal from the old man. They were better than the sail and the other lines over, as the deal were bad for them. And they were quite sure no local people would steal from him. The old man thought that a gaff and an harpoon were needless temptations to leave for the boat. They walked up the road together, the old man's shack, and went in through its open door. The old man leaned the mast with its wrapped sail against the wall, and the boy put the box and the other gear beside it. The masts were nearly as long as the one room in the shack. The shack were made of tough bud shields from the royal palm, which are called guano, and in it there were a bed, a table, one chair, and a place on the dirt floor cooked with charcoal. On the brown walls of the flattened, overlapping leaves of the sturdy fibred guano, there were a picture in colour of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and another of the Virgin of Coburg. These were relics of his wife. Once there had been a tinted photograph of his wife on the wall. He had taken it down because it made it too lonely to see it, and it were on the shelf in the corner under his clean shirt. What do you have to eat? The boy asked. A pot of yellow rice with fish. Do you want some? No. I will eat at home. You want me to make the pie? No. I will make it later on. For I made the rice cold. May I take a cast net? Of course. There was no cast net. The boy remembered when they had sold it. But they went through this fiction every day. There were no pot of yellow rice and fish. The boy knew this too. 85 is a lucky number, the old man said. How would you like to see me bring one in? Dressed out over 1,000 pounds. I'll get the cast net and go for sardines. Will you sit in the sun in the doorway? Yes. I have yesterday's paper, and I will read today's paper. The boy did not know whether yesterday's paper was a fiction too, but the old man brought it out from under the bed. Perico gave it to me at the bodega, explained. I'll be back when I have the sardines. I'll keep yours and mine together on ice, and we can share them in the morning. Come back and tell me about the baseball. The Yankees cannot lose, but I fear the Indians of Cleveland. Have faith in the Yankees, you see. Think of the great DiMaggio. I fear about the Tigers of Detroit and the Indians of Cleveland. Be careful, you will fear even the Reds of Chicago, the Cincinnati, and the White Sox of Chicago. You study it and tell me when I come back. Do you think we should buy a terminal of the lottery with an 85? Tomorrow is the 85th day. We can do that. What about the 87 of your great record? It could not happen to us. Do you think you can find an 85? I can order one. One sheet. It's $2.50. Who can we borrow that from? That's easy. I can always borrow $2.50. I think perhaps I can. But I try not to borrow. First you borrow, then you beg. Keep warm, old man, the boy said. Remember, we are in September, the month when the great fish come, the old man said. Anyone can be a fisherman in May. I go now for the sardines, the boy said. When the boy came back, the old man was asleep in the chair, and some were down. The boy took the old army blanket off the bed and spread it over the back of the chair and over the old man's shoulders. They were strange shoulders, still powerful, but very old, and the neck was still strong too. The creases did not show so much as when the old man was asleep, his head fallen forward. His shirt had been patched so many times that it was like a sail, and the patches were faded to many different shades by the sun. The old man's head was very old, and though with his eyes closed, there were no life in his face. The newspaper lay across his knees, and the weight of his arms held it there, an even breeze. They were barefooted. The boy left him there. When he came back, the old man was still asleep. Wake up, old man, the boy said, with his hand on one of the old man's knees. The old man opened his eyes. For a moment he was coming back from a long way away. And he smiled. What have you got? Supper, the boy. We're going to have supper. I'm not very hungry. Come on, Annie. Can't fish and not eat. I have, the old man said, getting up and taking the newspaper and folded it. And he started to fold the blanket. Keep the blanket around you, the boy said. You'll not fish without eating while I'm alive. And live a long time and take care of yourself, the old man said. What are you eating? Black beans and rice, dried bananas, stew. The boy had brought him in a 2-decker metal container from the terrace. 2 sets of knives and forks and spoons were each in his pocket. A paper napkin wrapped around each set. Who gave this to you? Martin, the owner. I must thank him. I thanked him already, the boy said. You don't need to thank him. I'll give him the belly meat and the big fish, the old man said. Has he done this for us more than once? I think so. I must give him something more than the belly meat. He was very thoughtful for us. He sent 2 beers. I like the beer in can, yes. I know. This is in bottle. A 2 beer. I take back the bottle. That's very kind of you, the old man said. Shall we eat? I've been asking you to. The boy had hold of the bread gently. I have not wished to open the container until you were ready. I'm ready now. I have not wished to open the container until you were ready. I'm ready now, the old man said. I only needed time to wash. Where did you wash? The boy thought. The village water supply was 2 streets down the road. I must have water here for him, the boy thought. Soap and a good towel. Why must I have thought this? I must get him another shirt, a jacket for the winter, some sort of shoes and another blanket. The stew is excellent, the old man said. Tell me about the baseball, the boy asked. In the American League it is the Yankees, as I said, the old man said after. They lost today, the boy told him. That means nothing. The great DiMaggio is himself. We have other men on the team, naturally. The team makes the difference. In the other league, between Brooklyn and Philadelphia, I must take Brooklyn. Then I think of Dick Slizzle, those great drives in the old time. There was nothing ever like it. It's the longest ball I have ever seen. You remember when he used to come to the terrace? I wanted to take him fishing, but I was too timid to ask him. And I asked you to ask him when you were too timid. I know, it was a great mistake. He might have gone with us, then we would have that for all our lives. I would like to take the great DiMaggio fishing, the old man said. They say his father was a fisherman. Maybe he was as poor as we would understand. The great Sizzler's father was never poor. He, the father, was playing in the big leagues when he was my age. When I was your age, I was before the mast on a square league ship that went to Africa, and I have seen lions on the beaches in the evening. I know, you told me. Should we talk about Africa or about baseball? Baseball, the boy said. Tell me about the great John J. McGraw. He said, Yacht, J. He used to come to the terrace sometimes too, in the older days. He was rough and harsh-spoken, difficult to use. His mind was on horses as well as baseball. At least he carried lists of horses at all times. He frequently spoke the names of horses on the telephone. He was a great manager, the boy said. My father thinks he was the greatest, because he came here the most times, the old man said. If the Roher continued to come here each year, your father would think him the greatest manager. Who is the greatest manager really? Luque or Mike Gonzalez? I think they are equal. And the best fisherman is you? No. I know others better. Que va, the boy said. There are many good fishermen, and some great ones. There is only you. Thank you. You make me happy. I hope no fish will come along so great to prove us wrong. There is no such fish, if you are still strong as you say. I may not be as strong as I think, the old man said. But I know many things, and I have resolution. You have to go to bed now, so that you will be fresh in the morning. I will take the thing back to the terrace. Good night then. I will wake you in the morning. With my alarm clock, the boy said. The age is my alarm clock, the old man said. Why do old men wake so early? Is it to have one longer day? I don't know, the boy said. All I know is that young boys sleep late and hard. I cannot remember it, the old man said. I'll waken you in time. I do not like them to wake me. It is as though I were inferior. I know. Sleep well, old man. The boy went out. They had eaten with no light on the table, and the old man took off his trousers and went to bed in the dark. He rolled his trousers up to make a pillow, put the newspaper inside of it. He rolled himself in the blanket and slept on the other old newspaper that covered the springs of the bed. He were asleep in short time, and he dreamed of Africa when he were a boy. The long golden beaches, and the white beaches, so white they hurt your eye, the iron capes, and the great brown mountains. He lived along that coast now every night, and in his dreams he heard the surf roar, and saw the native boats come riding through it. He smelled the tar and oakum on the deck as he slept. He smelled the smell of Africa, the land breeze brought him warm. Usually when he smelled the land breeze, he woke up and dressed to go and wake the boy. But tonight, the smell of the land breeze came very early. He knew it was too early in his dream, and he went on dreaming to see the white peaks of the island rising from the sea. And then he dreamed of the different harbours and roadsteads of the Canary Islands. He no longer dreamed of storms, nor women, nor great occurrences, nor great fish, nor fights, nor contests of strength, nor of his wife. He only dreamed of places now, and of the lions and the beach. They played like young cats in the dusk, and he loved them as he loved the boy. He never dreamed about the boy. He simply woke, looked out the open door at the moon, unrolled his trousers and put them on. He urinated outside the shack, and then went up the road to wake the boy. He was shivering with the morning cold, but he knew he would shiver himself warm, and soon he would be rowing. The door of the house where the boy lived was unlocked, and he opened it and walked in quietly, with his bare feet. The boy was asleep on a cot in the first room. The old man could see him clearly with the light that came in from the dying moon. He took hold of 1 foot gently and held it until the boy woke, turned and looked at him. The old man nodded, and the boy took his trousers from the chair by the bed and, sitting on the bed, pulled them on. The old man went out the door, and the boy came after him. He was sleepy. The old man put his arm across his shoulders and said, "I am sorry." "Eva," the boy said, "this is what a man must do." They walked down the road to the old man's shack, and all along the road in the dark, barefoot men were moving, carrying the masts to their boat. When they reached the old man's shack, the boy took the rolls of line in the basket and the harpoon and gaff, and the old man carried the mast with the furled sail on his shoulder. "Do you want coffee?" the boy asked. "We'll put the gear in the boat and then get some." They had coffee from condensed milk cans at an early morning place to serve fishermen. "How did you sleep, old man?" the boy asked. He was waking up now, though it was still hard for him to leave his sleep. "Very well, Manoli," the old man said. "I feel confident today." "So do I," the boy said. "I must get your sardines and mine, and your fresh bait. He brings our gear himself. He never wants anyone to carry anything." "We're different," the old man said. "I let you carry things when you were 5 years old." "I know," the boy said. "I'll be right back. Have another coffee. You have great beer." He walked off, barefooted on the coral rock to the ice house where the baits were stored. The old man drank his coffee slowly. It was all he would have all day, and he knew that he should take it. For a long time now, eating had bored him, and he never carried a lunch. He had a bottle of water in the bow of the skiff, and that was all he needed for the day. The boy were back now, the sardines, the 2 baits wrapped in a newspaper. And they went down the trail of the skiff, feeling the pebbled sand under their feet, and lifted the skiff and slid her into the water. "Good luck, old man." "Good luck," the old man said. He fitted the rope lashings of the oars onto the pole pins, and, leaning forward against the thrust of the blades in the water, he began to row out of the harbour in the dark. There were other boats from the other beaches going out to sea, and the old man heard the dip and push of their oars, even though he could not see them now the moon was below the elm. Sometimes someone would speak in a boat, but most of the boats were silent, except for the dips of the oars. They spread apart after they were at the mouth of the harbour, and each one headed for the part of the ocean where he hoped to find fish. The old man knew he was going far out, and he left the smell of the land behind, and rowed out into the clean early morning smell of the ocean. He saw the phosphorescence of the Gulf wheel in the water as he roved over the part of the ocean the fishermen called the Great Well, as there was a sudden deep of 700 fathoms, where all sorts of fish congregated, as the swirl of the current made against the steep wall of the floor of the ocean. Here there were concentrations of shrimp and baitfish, and sometimes schools of squid in the deepest holes, and these rose close to the surface and at night, where all the wandering fish feed on them. In the dark, the old man could feel the morning coming, and as he rowed, he heard the trembling sound as flying fish left the water, and the hissing of the skiff. Their stiff-set wings made as they soared away in the dark. He was very fond of flying fish, as they were his principal friends in the ocean. He was sorry for the birds, especially the small, delicate, dark terns that were always flying and looking, and almost never finding. And he thought the birds have a harder life than we do, except for the robber birds, the heavy, strong ones. Why did they make birds so delicate and fine as those sea swallows when the ocean could be so cruel? She is kind and very beautiful, but she could be so cruel. It comes so suddenly, and such birds that fly, ripple and anthem with their small, sad voices, made too delicate for the sea. He always thought of the sea as la mar, which is what people call her in Spanish when they love her. Sometimes those who love her say bad things of her. They're always said as though she were a woman. Some of the younger fishermen, those who used buoys as floats for their lines, and motor boats, were bought when the shark livers had come and brought much money, spoke of her as Elmar, which is masculine. They spoke of her as a contestant and replaced her even an enemy. The old man always thought of her as feminine, as something that gave or withheld great favours. And if she did wild or wicked things, it was because she could not help them. The moon affects her as it does a woman. They were rowing steadily, with no effort for it, and kept well within his speed, and the surface of the ocean was flat, except for the occasional swirls of the current. They were letting the current do a third of the work, and as it started to be light, he saw we were already further out than the oak, near the south. Hang on a second now, I want to take a quick drink of water. So, thoughts so far. I reckon it's interesting. You see the old man and the boy. But it does seem like we're sort of starting to get into the meat of it here. The old man's thoughts on the sea. Seems like it would make sense this being the meat of it, given the name of the book. I wonder how much more we'll see of the boy. How many days it will take to catch a fish. Or if we catch a fish at all, I suppose. It's not called the old man and the fish, is it? Anyway, we'll see what happens. I worked the deep wells for a week and did nothing. Today I'll work out with the shoals of Benito and Albacore, and maybe there'll be a big one. Before it would really light, he had his baits out and were drifting with the current. One bait were down 40 fathoms, the second were at 75, and the third and fourth were down in the blue water at 100 and 125. Each bait hung head down with the shank of the hook inside the bait, and sewed solid, and all the projecting parts of the hook, the curve and the point were covered with fresh sardine. Each sardine were hooked through both eyes, and they made a half garland of the projecting steel. There were no part of the hook that a great fish could feel, which were not sweet-smelling and good fish. The boy had given me 2 fresh small tunas, or albacores, which hung on the 2 deepest lines, like plummets, and on the others he had a big blue runner and a yellow jacket he'd been used before. They were in good condition still, and had excellent sardines to give them a scent and attractiveness. Each line would stick around as a big pencil, looped onto a green satin stick, so that any pull or touch on the bait would make the stick dip. And each line had 2 40-fathom coils, which were made fast to the other spare coils, so that if it were necessary, this could take over 300 fathoms a line. Now the old man watched the dip of the 3 sticks over the side of the skiff, and rowed gently, to keep the lines straight up and down at their proper depths. It was quite light, and at any moment now the sun would rise. The sun rose thinly, and the sea, the old man could see the other boats, low on the water and well in towards the shore, spread out across the current. Then the sun was brighter, the glare came on the water, and then as it rose clear, the flat sea sent it back to his eyes, so that it hurt sharply, and he rowed without looking into it. He looked down into the water, and watched the lines that went straight down into the dark of the water. He kept them straighter than anyone did, so that each level in the darkness of the stream there would be bait waiting exactly where he wished it, for any fish that swam there. Others let them drift with the current. Sometimes they were at 60 fathoms when the fishermen thought they were at 100. But, he thought, I'll keep them with precision. Only I have no luck anymore. But who knows? Maybe today. Every day is a new day. It is better to be lucky. I would rather be exact. Then when luck comes, you are ready. The sun were 2 hours higher now. He did not like his eyes so much to look into the east. There were only 3 boats in sight now, and they showed very low and far inshore. All my life the early sun has hurt my eyes. They are still good. In the evening I can look straight into it without getting the blackness. There's more force in the evening too, but in the morning it was painful. Just then he saw a man of war bird, with his long black wings circling in the sky ahead of him. He made a quick drop, slanting down on his back-swept wings, and circled again. Has God something? The old man said aloud. He's not just looking. He rode slowly and steadily towards where the bird was circling. He did not hurry, he kept his line straight up and down. He crowded the current a little, so he was still fishing correctly, no faster than he would if he was finished if he were not trying to use the bird. The bird went higher in the air and circled again, his wings motionless. Then he dove suddenly, and the old man saw a flying fish spurt out of the water and sailed desperately over the surface. Dolphin, the old man said aloud. Big dolphin. He shipped his oars and brought a small line from under the bow. It had a wire leader, a medium-sized hook, and he baited it with one of the sardines. He let it go over the side and then made it fast to a ring bolt in the stern. Then he baited another line and left it coiled in the shade of the bow. He went back to rowing, watching the long-winged black bird who were working now lower in the water. As he watched, the bird dipped again, slanting his wings for the dive and then swinging them wildly and ineffectually as he followed the flying fish. The old man could see the slight bulge in the water that the big dolphin raised as they followed the escaping fish. The dolphin were cutting through the water below the flight of the fish. It would be in the water, driving at speed when the fish dropped. There's a big school of dolphin, he thought. They are widespread and the flying fish have little chance. The bird has no chance. The flying fish are too big for him and they go too fast. He watched the flying fish burst out again and again in the ineffectual movements of the bird. The school has gotten away from me, he thought. They are moving out too fast, too far. But perhaps I will pick up a stray. Perhaps my big fish is around. A big fish must be somewhere. The clouds over the land now rose a mountain. The coast were only a long grey line of grey-blue hills behind it. The water were a dark blue now, so dark that it were almost purple. As he looked down into it, he saw the red sifting of the plankton, and in the dark water, a strange light the sun made now. He watched his lines to see them go straight down out of sight into the water, and he rapidly see so much plankton as it meant fish. The strange light the sun made in the water, now that the sun were higher, meant good weather, and so did the shape of the clouds over the land. But the bird was almost out of sight now, and nothing showed on the surface of the water but some patches of yellow, sun-bleached sargasso, and the purple formalised iridescent gelatinous bladder of a Portuguese man-of-war, flown close beside the boat. It turned on its side, and then righted itself, and floated cheerfully as a bubble with its long, deadly purple filaments trailing the earth behind it in water. Agua mala, said the hard. And where he swung lightly against his oars, he looked down into the water and saw the tiny fish that coloured like trailing filaments that swam between them and under the small shade the bubble made as it drifted. They were immune to poison. Men were not. When some of the filaments would catch on a line and rest there, slimy and purple, while the old man were working the fish, he would have welts and sores on his arms and hands, the sort that poison ivy or poison oak can do. These poisons from the agua mala came quickly and struck like a whiplash. The iridescent bubbles were beautiful, but they were the falsest thing in the sea. The old man loved to see the big sea turtles eating them. The turtles saw them, approached them in the front, and shut their eyes so they were completely caracosed, and ate them, filaments and all. The old man loved to see the turtles eat them. He loved to walk on them on the beach after a storm, and hear them pop when he stepped on them with the horny soles of his feet. He loved green turtles and oak bills with their elegance and speed, and their great value, and he had a friendly contempt for huge, stupid loggerheads, yellow in their armour plate, strange in their love-making, and happily eating the Portuguese men-of-war with their eyes shut. He had no mysticism about turtles, though he had gone in turtle boats for many years. We were very sorry for them all, even the great trunk-backs that were as long as the skiff and weighed a ton. Most people are artless about turtles, because the turtle's heart will beat for hours after he's been cut up and butchered. But, the old man thought, I have such a heart too, and my feet and arms like theirs. He ate the white eggs to give himself strength. He ate them all through May, to be strong in September and October, and truly big fish. He also drank a cup of shark liver oil each day from the big drum in the shack, and any of the fishermen kept their gear. They were there for all fishermen who wanted it. Most fishermen ate the taste. They were no worse than getting up at the hours they rose, and they were very good against all colds and gripes, and it was good for the island. Now the old man looked up and saw that the birds were circling around the bed. He's found the fish, he said aloud. No flying fish broke the surface, and there were no scattering of bait fish. As the old man watched, a small tuna rose in the air, turned and dropped head first in the water. The tuna shone silver in the sun, and after he had dropped back into the water, another and another rose. They were jumping in all directions, churning the water and leaping in longer jumps after the bait. They were circling it and driving it. If they don't travel too fast, they'll get into them, the old man thought. They watched the school work in the water white, and the bird now dropping and dipping into the bait fish that forced to the surface in their panic. The bird is a great help, the old man said. Just then the stern line came taut under his foot, and he had kept the loop of the line. He dropped his oars and felt the weight of the small tuna's shivering pull as he held the line firm and commenced to haul it in. The shivering increased as he pulled in, and they could see the blue back of the fish in the water and the gold of his stars as he swung them over the side and onto the boat. They lay in the stern in the sun, compact and bullet shaped, his big unintelligent eyes staring as he thumped his laugh at them, flanking the boat, with quick shivering strokes of his near, fast-moving tail. The old man hit him on the head for kindness and kicked him, his body still shuddering under the shade of the stern. Albacore, said the man aloud. You make a beautiful bait. Weigh 10 pounds. He did not remember when he had first started to talk aloud when he was by himself. He had sung when he was by himself in the old days. He had sung at night sometimes when he was alone, steering on his watch in the smacks of the turtle boat. He probably started to talk aloud when alone, and the boy had left, but he did not remember. When he and the boy fished together, they usually spoke only when it was necessary. They talked at night, when they were storm-bound by bad weather. He considered a virtue not to talk unnecessarily at sea, and the old man had always considered it so, respected it. Now he said his thoughts aloud many times, as there were no one there that they could annoy. The others heard me talking aloud, they would think I am crazy, he said aloud. Some say I'm not crazy, I do not care. And they reach have radios to talk to them in their thoughts, to bring them the baseball. Now there's no time to think of baseball, I thought. Now it's time to think only of one thing. That's which I was born for. There might be a big one around that school, I thought. I picked up only a straggler from the Albacore that could beat me. But they are working so far out, fast. Everything that shows on the surface today travels very far, to the northeast. Can that be the time of day? Or is it some sign of weather that I do not know? He could not see the green of the shore now, but only the tops of the blue hills showed white, as though there were snow-caps, and the clouds that looked like high snow mountains above them. The sea was very dark, and the light made prisms in the water. Myriad flecks of the plankton were annulled now by the ice sun. There were only the great deep prisms in the blue water that the old man saw now with his lines going straight down to miles deep. The tuna, fishermen called all fish of that species tuna, and only distinguished among them by their proper names, when they came to sell them or to trade them for baits, were down again. The sun was hot now, and the old man felt it on the back of his neck. He felt the sweat trickle down his back as he rowed. I could just drift, he thought, and sleep, and get up, bite a line around my toe to wake me. But the day is 85 bad days, and I should fish the day well. Just then, watching his lines, he saw one of the projecting green sticks slip sharp. Yes, he said, yes. And he shipped his oars without bumping the boat. He reached out for the line and held it softly between the thumb and forefinger of his right hand. He felt no strain nor weight, and he held the line lightly. Then it came again. His thumb were attentive, not solid nor heavy, and he knew exactly what it was. 100 fathoms down, a marlin were eating the sardines that covered the point and the shank of the hook, the hand-forged hook projected from the edge of the small tube. The old man held the line delicately, softly, with his left hand, unleashed it from the stick. Now he could let it run through his fingers without the fish feeling any tension. This far out, he must be huge in this one. Eat them, fish. Eat them. Please eat them. How fresh they are, and you down there 600 feet in cold water in the dark. Make another turn in the dark and come back and eat them. He felt the light, delicate pulling, and then an harder pull. The sardine's head must have been more difficult to break away from you. Then there were nothing. Come on, the old man said aloud. Make another turn. Just smell them. Aren't they lovely? Eat them good now. And then there is the tuna. Hard and cold and lovely. The shy fish. He waited with the line between his thumb and his finger, watching it and the other lines at the same time. The fish might have swum up or down. Then came the same delicate pulling touch again. You take it, the old man said aloud. I'd help him to take it. He did not take it though. You were gone and the old man felt nothing. Gambler gone, he said. That's nausea and I'm gone, making a turn. Maybe he has been hooked before and he remembers something of it. Then he felt the gentle touch on the line and grabbed. You're only his turn, he said. Take it. You're happy feeling the gentle pulling, and then he felt something hard and unbelievably heavy. With the weight of the fish, he let the line slip down, arm rolling off the first of the two reserve corners. As it went down, slipping lightly through the old man's fingers, he still could feel the great weight, but the pressure of his thumb and finger were almost imperceptible. But a fish, he said. He has it sideways in his mouth now, and he is moving off with it. And he will turn and swallow it, he thought. He did not say that, because he knew that if he said a good thing, it might not happen. He knew what a huge fish this was, and the thought of him moving away in the darkness with the tuna held crosswise in his mouth. That moment he felt him stop moving. The weight was still there, and the weight increased, and it gave more line. He tightened the pressure of his thumb and finger for a moment, and the weight increased and was going straight down. He's taken it, he said. Now, I'll let it go in. He let the line slip through his fingers while he reached down with his left hand and made fast the free end with the two reserve coils, the loop, the next line. The loop of the two reserve coils, the next line. Now we were ready. He had 3 40-fathom coils of line in reserve now, as well as the coil he was using. He did a little more, he said. He did well. It's at the point of the hook goes in your arm, kills you. Thought, come up easy. Let me put the harpoon in you. All right? Are you ready? Have you been long enough at the table? Now, he said aloud. Struck hard with both hands, gained a yard of line, and then struck again and again, swinging with each arm alternately on the cord, with all the strength of his arms and the pivoted weight of his body. Nothing happened. The fish just moved away slowly, and the old man could not raise him an inch. His line was strong, and it made for a very heavy fish, and it held against his back until it was so taut that beads of water were jumping for it. Then it began to make a slow hissing sound in the water. He still held it, bracing himself against the fork and leaning back against the fork. The boat began to move slowly off towards the northeast. The fish moved steadily, and they travelled slowly on the calm water. The other boats were still in the water. There were nothing to be done. I wish I had the boy, the old man said aloud. I've been towed by a fish, and I'm towing the bit, and I'm the towing bit. I could make the line fast, then it could break it. I must hold him. All I can give him line when he must. I must hold him all I can, give him line when he must have. Thank God he is travelling, not going down. What will I do if he decides to go down? I don't know. What I'll do if he sounds and dies, I don't know. I'll do something. There are plenty of things I can do. He held the line against his back and watched it slant in the water and the skiff moving steadily in the northwest. This will kill him, the old man thought. He can't do this forever. 4 hours later, the fish was still swimming steadily out to sea, towing the skiff, and the old man was still braced solidly with a line across his back. It was noon when they hooked him, he said, and I have never seen them. He had pushed his straw hat hard down on his head before he hooked the fish, and it was cutting his forehead. He was thirsty too. He got down on his knees, and, being careful not to jerk on the line, moved as far into the bow as he could get and reached the water bottle with one hand. He opened it and drank a little. Then he rested against the bow. He rested, sitting on the unstepped mast, sail, trying not to think, only to endure. Then he looked behind him and saw that no land were visible. It makes no difference, he thought. I can always come in on the glow from Havana. There are 2 more hours before the sun sets, and maybe we'll come up before that. If he doesn't, maybe he'll come up with the moon. If he doesn't do that, maybe he'll come up with the sunrise. I have no cramps and I feel strong. It is he that has the hook in his mouth. What a fish to pull like that. With his mouth shut tight on the wire. I wish I could see him. I wish I could see him only once to know what I had against me. The fish never changed his course nor his direction all that night, as far as the man could tell from the watching stars. It was cold after the sun went down, and the old man's sweat dried cold on his back and his arms and his old legs. During the day he had taken the sack that covered the bait box and spread it in the sun to dry. After the sun went down, he tied it around his neck so that it hung down over his back. He cautiously worked it down under the line or across his shoulders now. The sack cushioned the line, and he had found the way of leaning forward against the bow so that you were almost comfortable. The position actually was only somewhat less than tolerable, but he thought of it as almost comfortable. I can do nothing with him, and he can do nothing with me, he thought. Not as long as he keeps this up. Once he stood up and urinated over the side of the skiff. He looked at the stars and checked his course. The line showed like a phosphorescent streak in the water, straight out from his shoulders. They were moving more slowly now. The glow of the banner were not so strong, so that he knew the current must be carrying them to the eastward. If I lose the glare of the Havana, they must be going more to the eastward, he thought. For if the fish's course held true, I must see it for many more hours. I wonder how the baseball came out in the Grand Leagues today, he thought. It'd be wonderful to do this with a radio. And he thought, think of it always. Think of what you were doing. You must do nothing stupid. And he said aloud, I wish I had Du Bois to help me and to see this. No one should be alone in their old age, he thought. It is unavoidable. I must remember to eat the tuna before he spoils in order to keep strong. Remember, no matter how little you want to, you must eat him in the morning. Remember, he said to himself. During the night, two porpoises came round the boat, and he could hear the rolling and blowing. He could tell the difference between the blowing noise the male made and the sigh and blow of the female. They are good, he said. They play and make jokes and love one another. They are brothers like a flying fish. And he began to pity the great fish that he had hooked. He is wonderful and strange, and who knows how old he is. Never have I had such a strong fish, and one who acted so strangely. Perhaps he is too wise to jump. He could ruin me by jumping, or by a wild rush. Perhaps he has been hooked many times before, and knows that this is how he should make his fight. He cannot know that he is only one man against him, though he is an old man. What a great fish he is, and what will he bring in the market if the flash is good? He took the bait like a male, he pulls like a male, his fight has no panic in it. I wonder if he has any plan, if he is just as desperate as I am. You remember the time he had hooked one of a pair of marlin? The male fish always let the female fish feed first. The hooked fish, the female, made a wild, panic-stricken, despairing fight, and soon exhausted her, and all the time the male had stayed with her, crossing the line and circling with her on the surface. He had stayed so close that the old man were afraid he would cut the line with his tail, as sharp as a saw, and almost to that size and shape. And the old man had gaffed her and clubbed her, holding the rapier bill with its sandpaper edge, clubbing her across the top of her head until her colour turned a colour almost like the back of a mirror, and then with the boy's aid hoisted her aboard. The male fish had stayed by the side of the boat. Then, while the old man were clearing the lines, preparing the harpoon, the male fish jumped so high in the air beside the boat to see where the female was, and then went down deep. His lavender wings, his pectoral fins, spread wide, and all his wide lavender stripes showing. You were beautiful, the old man remembered, and he had stayed. That was the saddest thing I ever saw with them, the old man thought. The boy was sad too, and we begged her pardon and butchered her promptly. I wish the boy were here, he said aloud, and settled himself against the rounded planks of the bow. He felt the strength of the great fish through the line he held across his shoulders, moving steadily towards wherever he had chosen. When once, though through my treachery it had been necessary for him to make a choice, the old man thought, his choice had been to stay in the deep, dark water, far out beyond all snares and traps and treacheries. My choice was to go there and find him beyond all people in the world. Now we are joined together, and have been since noon, and no one will help either one of us. Perhaps I should not have been a fisherman, he thought, but that was the thing that I was born for. I must surely remember we could tune her after against light. Some time before daylight, something took one of the baits that were left behind him. He heard the stick break and the line began to rush out and the gunwale of the skiff. In the darkness he loosened his sheath knife, taking all the strain of the fish on his left shoulder. He leaned back and cut the line against the wood of the gunwale. Then he cut the other line closest to him, and in the dark made the loose ends of the reserve coils fast. He worked skillfully with the one hand and put his foot on the coils to hold them as he drew his knots tight. Now he had 6 reserve coils alive. There were 2 from each bait he had severed, and 2 from the bait of the fish had taken, and they were all connected. After it is light, I'll work back to the 40-fathom bait and cut it away too, and link up the reserve coil. I will have lost 200 fathoms of good Catalan cut down, and the hooks and leaders. That could be replaced. Who replaces this fish if I hook some fish and cut him? I don't know what that fish was that took the bait just now. It could have been a marlin or a broad bill or a shark. Never felt him. I had to get rid of him too fast. Aloud he said, I wish I had the boy. But you haven't got the boy, I thought. You have only yourself. You'd better work back to the last line now, in the dark, or not in the dark. Cut it away and hook up the other 2 reserve coils. So we did it. It was difficult in the dark, and once the fish made a surge that pulled him down on his face and made a cut below his eye. The blood ran down his cheek a little way, it coagulated and dried before it reached his chin, and he worked his way back to the bow and rested against the wood. He adjusted the sack, and carefully worked the line so that it came across a new part of the shoulder, and holding it anchored with his shoulders, he carefully felt the pull of the fish, and then felt with his hands the progress of the skiff through the water. I wonder what he made that lunge for, he thought. The wire must have slipped on the great billow of his back. Certainly his back cannot feel as badly as mine does. It cannot pull the skiff forever, no matter how great he is. Now everything is cleared away that might make trouble. I have a big reserve of line. All that a man can ask. Fish, he said aloud, softly aloud. I'll stay with you until I am dead. You'll stay with me too, I suppose, the old man thought. And he waited for it to be light. It was cold now and the time before daylight. He pushed against the wood to be warm. I can do it as long as he can, he thought. And in the first light the line extended out and down into the water. The boat moved steadily. When the first edge of the sun rose, they were on the old man's right shoulder. He's headed north, the old man said. The current would have set us far to the eastward, he thought. I wish he would turn with the current. That would show that he was tiring. When the sun had risen further, the old man realized the fish were not tiring. They were only one favourable sign. The slant of the line showed he was swimming at lesser depth. That did not necessarily mean that he would jump. He might. God let him jump, the old man said. They have enough land to handle him. Maybe if I can increase the tension just a little while, he will jump. Now that it is daylight, let him jump, so he'll fall back in the sack along, so that he'll fill the sacks along his backbone with air, and he cannot go deep in the dark. He tried to increase the tension. The line had been taut up to the very edge of breaking point since he had hooked the fish. He felt the harshness as he leaned back to pull, and knew he could put no more strain on it. I must not jerk it ever, he thought. Each jerk widens the cut the hook makes, and then when he does jump he might throw it. Anyway, I feel better with the sun, and for once I do not have to look into it. There was yellow weed on the line. The old man knew this only made an added drag. He was pleased with the yellow gulf weed that made so much phosphorescent light in the night. Fish, he said, I love you and respect you very much. I will kill you dead before this day ends. Let's hope. A small bird came flying towards the swift skiff from the north. He were a warbler, flying very low over the water. The old man could see that he was very tired. The bird made the stern of the boat and rested there, and he flew around the old man's head and rested on the line where he was more comfortable. How old are you? The old man asked the bird. Is this your first trip? The bird looked at him when he spoke. He was too tired even to examine the line. He teetered on it, his delicate feet gripped it fast. It's steady, the old man told him. It's too steady. You shouldn't be that tired after a windless night. The bird's coming. The Orcs, he thought, come out to see me, to meet them. He said nothing of this to the bird, who did not understand him anyway. They would learn about the Hawks soon enough. Take a good rest, small bird, he said, and go in and take your chance like any man or bird or fish. Encouraged him, he thought, his back had stiffened in the night, and it hurt truly now. Leave my house if you like, bird, he said. I'm sorry I cannot hoist the sail and take you in with the small breeze that is rising, but I am with a friend. Just then the fish gave a sudden lurch that pulled the old man down into the bow. I would have pulled him overboard if he had not braced himself and given some line. The bird had flown up when the line jerked, and the old man had not even seen him go. He put the line in carefully with the right hand, and noticed that his hand was bleeding. Something hurt him then, he said aloud, and pulled back on the line to see if he could turn the fish. When he would touch the breaking point, he held steady and settled back into the strain of the line. "You're feeling it now, fish," he said. "And so God knows am I." He looked around for the bird now, because he would have liked to come. The bird would go. He did not stay long, the man thought. It is rougher where you were going until you made the shore. And I let the fish cut me with that one quick volley, man. It must be getting very sleepy. Or perhaps I will look at the small bird and thinking of him. I will pay attention to my work. And then I must eat the tuna so that I will not have a failure of strength. I wish the boy were here, and I had some salt, he said aloud. Shifting the weight of the line to his left shoulder, kneeling carefully, he washed his hand in the ocean and held it there, submerged, for more than a minute, watching the blood trail away, the steady movement of the water against his hand and the boat. "It slowed much," the man said. The old man would like to keep his hand in the salt water longer, but he was afraid of another sudden lurch by the fish, and he stood up and braced himself, and held his hand against the sun. There were only alarm burn that had cut his flesh. They were in the working part of his hand. He knew he would need his hand before this were over. He did not like to be cut for a start. "Now," he said when his hand had dried, "you must eat the small tool. I can reach him with the gaff and eat them here in company." He knelt down and found the tuna under the stern with the gaff and drew it towards him, keeping it clear of the cord line. Holding the line with the left shoulder again, bracing on his left hand and arm, he took the tuna off the gaff hook, put the gaff back in place. He put one knee on the fish and cut strips of dark red meat longitudinally from the back of the head and the tail. They were wedge-shaped strips. He cut them from next to the backbone down the edge of the belly. When he had cut 6 strips, he spread them out on the wood of the bow, wiped his knife from his trousers, and lifted the carcass with the bonito by the tail, and dropped it overboard. "I don't think I can eat an entire one," he said, and drew his knife across one of the strips. He could feel the steady hard pull of the line, and his left hand was cramped. He drew it tight on the heavy cord, and he looked at it in disgust. "What kind of a hand is that?" he said. "Cramped then if you want. Make yourself into a claw. Won't do you no good. Come on." He looked down into the dark water and the slant of the line. Eat it now, and it will strengthen the hand. It is not the hand's fault. You have been many hours with the fish. You can stay with him forever. Eat the bonito now. He picked up a piece and put it in his mouth and chewed it slowly. It was not unpleasant. Well, he thought, get all the juices. It would not be bad to eat with a little lime or with lemon or with salt. "How do you feel, Anne?" he asked the cramped man. "You were almost as stiff as rigor mortis. I'll eat some more for you." He ate the other part of the piece that he had cut in two. He chewed it carefully and spat out the skin. "How does it go, Anne? Or is it too early to know?" He took another full piece and chewed it. "He's a strong, full-blooded fish," he thought. "I was lucky to get him instead of dolphin. Dolphin is too sweet. This is hardly sweet at all. The strength is still in it. There's no sense of being anything but frank. But, he thought, I wish I had some salt, and I do not know whether the sun will rot or dry what is left. So I'd better eat it all, though I'm not hungry. The fish is calm and steady. I'll eat it all, and then I will be ready. Be patient, then," he said. "I'll do this for you." I wish I could feed the fish, he thought. He is my brother. I must kill him and keep strong to do it. Slowly and conscientiously, he ate all of the wedge-shaped strips of fish. He straightened up, wiping his hand on his trousers. "Now," he said, "you can let the cord go, and I will handle him with the right arm alone until you stop that nonsense." He put his left foot on the heavy line the left hand held, and lay back against the pole against his back. "God help me to have the cramp go," he said, "because I do not know what the fish is going to do." He seems calm, he thought, following his plan. What is his plan, he thought? What is mine? Mine I must improvise. His is of the great size. If he will jump, I can kill him. If he stays down forever, then I will stay down with him forever. He rubbed the cramped hand against his trousers and tried to be gentle with the fingers. They would not open. Maybe it will open with the sun, he thought. Maybe it will open when the strong raw tuna is digested. If I have to have it, I will open it, whatever cost it costs. But I don't want to open it now by force. Let it open by itself and come back on its own. After all, I've used it much in the night, necessary to free and untie various lines. Let's stop here and have a quick drink in the thought. So he does have a fish. And he's very philosophical about it. And he's lived his whole life. Ooh. And more people are here trying to sell me things, but I'm not going to stop focus on it. But yeah, trying to think if there's anything else worth mentioning. Don't know really. I mean, there's depth to it, but it's not. I don't know. It seems very clear to me what this is about. Doesn't seem like there's too much to be getting into. I think I might do not very much commentary on this one. I might just push through it and then see if I can sum that up sort of at the end. Now I have my water now. Keep my strength up, as the old man says. Oh, he's lucky. Sometimes he has things that aren't cool. Right. Back to it. They looked across the sea, knew how alone he was now. But he could see the prisms in the deep dark water, and the line stretching ahead, and the strange undulation of the calm. The clouds were building up now for the trade wind, and he looked ahead, saw a flight of wild ducks etching themselves against the sky over the water, then blurring and etching again. They knew no man were ever alone on the sea. He thought of how some men fear being out of sight of land in a small boat, and he knew where they were right in the months of sudden bad weather. Now they were in hurricane months, and when there are no hurricanes, the weather of hurricane months is the best of all the year. If there is an hurricane, you always see the signs of it in the sky for days ahead. If you're at sea, they do not see it ashore because they do not know what to look for. Land must make a difference too, the shape of the clouds. We have no hurricane coming now. I looked at the sky, saw the white cumulus built like friendly piles of ice cream, and high above were the thin feathers of the cirrus against the high September sky. I had to breeze her, he said. Better weather for me than for you, fish. His left hand was still cramped, but he were unknotting it slowly. I hate to cramp, he thought. It's a treachery of one's own body. It's humiliating before others to have it. It is humiliating before others to have diarrhea from domain poisoning, or the vomit from it. It takes a cramp, he thought. A cramp, he thought, if it is a calambre, humiliates oneself, especially when one is alone. If the boy were here, he could rub it for me, and loosen it down from the forearm, he thought. It will loosen up. Then with his right hand, he felt the difference in the pull of the line, where he saw the slant change in the water. Then, as he leaned against the line and slapped his left hand hard and fast against his thigh, he saw the line slant slowly up. It's coming up, he said. Come on, hand. Please come on. It's coming up, he said. Come on, hand. Please come on. The line rose slowly and steadily, and then the surface of the ocean bulged the edge of the boat, and the fish come out. He came out unendingly, and water poured from his sides. It would brighten the sun, his head and back were dark, and in the sun the stripes on his sides shone wide, and a light laughter. His sword were long as a baseball bat, tapered like a rapier, and they rose his full length from the water, and then re-entered it smoothly, like a dive in the old man. The dive the old man saw in the great and re-entered it smoothly like a diver, and the old man saw the great side blade of his tail go under, and the line commenced to race out. It was 2 feet longer than the skiff, the old man said. The line were going out faster, steadily, and the fish were not panicked. The old man was trying with both hands to keep the line just inside a breaking strength. He knew that if he could not slow the fish with a steady pressure, the fish could take out all the line and break it. He's a great fish, and I must convince him, he thought. I must never let him learn his strength, nor what he could do if he made his run. If I were him, I would put in everything now and go until something broke. But thank God they are not as intelligent as we who kill them, although they are more noble and more able. The old man had seen many great fish. He had seen many that weighed more than 1,000 pounds, and he had caught 2 of that size in his life, but never alone. Now alone, and out of sight of land, he was fast to the biggest fish that he had ever seen, bigger than he had ever heard of. His left hand was still as tight as the gripped claws of an eagle. It'll uncramp, he thought. Surely it'll uncramp without my right hand. There are 3 things that are brothers to me: fish and my 2 hands. It must uncramp. It is unworthy of it to be cramped. The fish had slowed again, going at his usual pace. I wonder why he jumped, the old man thought. He jumped almost as though to show me how big he was. I know now, anyway, he thought. I wish I could show him what sort of man I am. Then he would see the cramped hand. Let him think I am more man than I am. I will be so. I wish I was a fish, he thought, with everything he has against only my will and my intelligence. He settled comfortably against the wood, and took his suffering as it came. The fish swam steadily, and the boat moved slowly through the dark water. There was a small sea rising with the wind coming up from the east, and at noon the old man's left hand were uncramped. Bad news for you, fish, he said, and shifted the line over the sacks that covered his shoulder. You were comfortable but suffering, although he did not admit the suffering at all. I am not religious, he said, but I will say 10 Our Fathers and 10 Hail Marys that I should catch this fish, and I promise to make a pilgrimage to the Virgin of Cobre if I catch it. That is a promise. He commenced to say his prayers mechanically. Sometimes he would be so tired that he could not remember the prayer, then he would say them fast so that they would come automatically. Hail Marys are easier to say than Our Fathers. Hail Mary, full of the grace of our Lord. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. And he added, Blessed Virgin, pray for the death of this wonderful document. His prayers said, feeling much better, suffering exactly as much, perhaps a little more. He leaned against the wood of the bow and began, mechanically, the work fingers of his left hand. The sun were up now, though the breeze were rising gently. I had better rebait the little line over there astern, he said. If the fish decides to stay another night, I will need to eat again. The water is low in the bottom. I don't think I can get anything but the dolphin here. But if I eat him fresh enough, he won't be bad. I wish a flying fish would come on board tonight, but I have no light to attract them. A flying fish is excellent to eat around. I would not have to cut him up. I must save all my strength now. Christ, I did not know he was so big. I'll kill him, no? He said, in all his greatness and glory. Though it is unjust, he thought, but I will show him what a man can do and what a man endures. I told the boy I was a strange old man, he said. Now is when I must prove it. 1,000 times that he had proved it meant nothing. Now he was proving it again. Each time were a new time, and he never thought about the past when he was doing it. I wish he'd sleep, and I could sleep and dream about the lions, he thought. Why are the lions the main thing that is left? Don't think, old man, he said to himself. Rest gently now against the wood, and think of nothing. He is working. Work as little as you can. It was getting in the afternoon, and the boat still moved slowly and steadily. But there were an added drag now, and the easterly breeze. And the old man rode gently with the small sea, and the unhurt cord across his back came to him easily and smoothly. Once in the afternoon the line started to rise again. The fish only continued to swim at a slightly higher level. Some were on the old man's left arm, shoulder, and on his back. He knew the fish had turned east and north. Now that he had seen them once, he could picture the fish swimming in the water with his big purple pectoral fins set wide as wings, and the great erect tail was slicing through the dark. I wonder how much he sees at that depth, the old man thought. His eye is huge, and a horse, with much less eye, can see in the dark. Once I could see quite well in the dark, not in the absolute dark, but almost as a cat sees. The sun and the steady movement of his fingers had uncramped his left hand now completely. He began to shift more of the strain to it. He shrugged the muscles of his back to shift the cord a little. You're not tired, fish, he said aloud. You must be very strong. He felt very tired now, and He knew the night would come soon, and he tried to think of other things. He thought of the big leagues. To him, they were the Grand Ligas, and he knew that the Yankees in New York were playing the Tigers of Detroit. This is the second day now that I do not know the result of the Juegos, but I must have confidence. I must be worthy of the great DiMaggio, who does all things perfectly, even with the pain of the bone spur in his heel. What is a bone spur? He asked himself. In the Escuela de Hueso. We do not have them. Can it be as painful as the spur of a fighting cock in one's heel? I do not think I could endure that. For the loss of the eye, both eyes continue to fight as the fighting cocks do. Man is not much suck beside those great birds and beasts. Still, I'd rather be that beast down there in the darkness of the sea. When the sharks come, he said aloud, if sharks come, look pity him and me. You believe the great DiMaggio would stay with the fish as long as I will stay with this one? I am sure he would, more since he is young and strong. Also his father were a fisherman. Would the bone spur hurt him too much? I do not know, he said aloud. I never had a bone spur. As the sun set, he remembered to give himself more confidence. The time in the tavern at Casablanca when he had played the game with the great Negro from Cienfuegos, who was the strongest man on the docks. They had gone one day and one night with their elbows on a chalk line at the table, and their forearms straight up and their hands grasped tight. Each one were trying to force the other's hand down onto the table. They were much better. People went in and out of the room under the kerosene light, and he had looked at the arm and hands of the Negro and the Negro's face. They changed the referees every 4 hours after the first day, so the referees could sleep. Blood came out from under the fingernails of both his and the Negro's hands, and they looked each other in the eye and at their hands and forearms, and the betters went in and out of the room and sat on high chairs against the wall and watched. The walls were painted bright blue, and were woods, and the lamps threw their shadows against them. The Negro's shadow was huge, and it moved on the wall, the breeze moved on that. The odds would change back and forth all night. They fed the Negro rum and light cigarettes for him. Then the Negro, after the rum, would try, with a tremendous effort of, and once he had the old man, well, not an old man then, was Santiago El Campeon, nearly 3 inches off balance. But the old man had raised his hand up dead even again. He was sure then that he had the Negro, who was a fine man, a great athlete, and at daylight, when the betters were asking that he be called a draw, and the referee was shaking his head, he unleashed his effort, forced the hand of the Negro down until it rested on the wood. The match had started on a Sunday morning and ended on a Monday morning. Many of the betters had asked for a draw because they had to go to work on the docks, loading sacks of sugar at the Havana Coal Company. Otherwise, everyone would have wanted to get a finish. He had finished it anyway, before anyone had to go to work. For a long time after that, everyone had called him the champion. And there had been a return match in the spring. Not much money were bet, and he had won it quite easily, since he had broken the confidence of the Negro from Cienfuegos in the first match. After that, he had a few matches, and then no more. He decided that he could beat anyone if he wanted to badly enough, and he decided that it was bad for his right hand, fishing. He tried a few practice matches with his left hand. His left hand had always been a traitor, and would not do what he called on it to do. He did not trust it. The sun will bake it out well now, he thought. He should not cramp on me again, unless it gets too cold in the night. I wonder what the night will bring. An airplane passed overhead that was forced to Miami, and I watched the shadow scaring up the schools of the flying fish. So much flying fish that should be dolphins, he said, and leaned back on the line to see if it were possible to gain any on his fish. But he could not. He stayed at the hardness and water drop, shivering at the sheets baking. The boat moved ahead slowly, and he watched the airplane until he could no longer see it. It must be very strange in an airplane, he thought. I wonder what the sea looks like from that height. I should be able to see the fish as well if they do not fly too high. I'd like to fly very slowly at 200 fathoms high and see the fish from above. And the turtle boats are in the cross trees of the masthead, and even at that height I saw much. The dolphin looked greener there, you can see their stripes, and their purple spots, and you can see all the schools as they swim. What is it that all the fast-moving fish in the dark currents have purple backs, and usually purple striped spots? The dolphin looks green, of course, because he is really golden. When he comes to feed truly hungry, purple stripes show on his side, as on a marlin. Can it be anger? with the great speed he makes that brings them out. Just before it was dark, as they passed the great island of Sargasso weed that heaved and swung in the light sea, as though the ocean were making love to something out under a yellow blanket, his small line was taken by a dolphin. He saw it first when it jumped in the air, true gold in the last of the sun, bending and flapping wildly in the air. It jumped again and again in the acrobatics of his fear, and he worked his way back to the stern, hand crouching and holding the big line with his right hand and arm. He pulled the dolphin in with his left hand, stepping on the gain line each time with his bare left. When the fish were at the stern, plunging and cutting from side to side in desperation, the old man leaned over the stern and lifted the burnished goldfish with his purple stalks over the stern. His jaws were working convulsively in quick bites against the hook, and pounded the bottom of the skiff with his long, flat body, his tail and its head, until he clubbed it across the shining golden edge, until it shivered and was still. The old man unhooked the fish, rebaited the line with another sardine and tossed it over, and he worked his way back slowly to the bow. He washed his left hand and wiped it on his trousers, and he shifted the heavy line from his right hand to his left, and washed his right hand in the sea while he watched the sun go into the ocean and slime from the big pool. "He hasn't changed at all," he said. Watching the movement of the water against his hand, he noted that it was perceptibly slower. "I lashed the two oars together across the stern, and that will slow him in the night," he said. "He's good for the night, and so am I. It would be better to gut the dolphin a little later, save the blood and the meat. But I can do that a little later, and lash the oars to make a drag at the same time. I'd better keep the fish quiet now, and not disturb them too much at sunset. Setting the sun is a difficult time for all fish." He let his hand dry in the air, and grasped the line with it, and eased himself as much as he could, and allowed himself to be pulled forward against the wood, so that the boat took the strain as much or more than he did. "I'm learning how to do it," he thought. "This part of it, anyway. And too, remember, he hasn't eaten since he took the bait, and he is huge and needs much food. I've eaten the whole bonita. Tomorrow I will eat the dolphin. Called it dorada. Perhaps I should eat some of it when I clean it. But the harder eating the bonita, then nothing is easy. How do you feel, fish?" he asked aloud. "I feel good, and my left hand is better, and I have food for the night and the day. Pull the boat, fish." He did not truly feel good, because the pain from the cord across his back had almost passed pain, and gone into a dullness that he mistrusted. "But I have had worse things than that," he thought. "My hand is only cut a little, the cramp is gone from the other, my legs are all right. Also now I have gained on him the question of sustenance." It was dark now, as it becomes dark quickly after the sun sets in September. He lay against the warm wood of the bow and rested all that he could. The first stars were out. He did not know the name of Rigel. He saw it, and knew soon they would all be out, and he read of all his distant friends. "Fish is my friend too," he said aloud. "I have never seen or heard of such a fish, but I must kill him. I am glad we do not have to try to kill the star. Imagine if each day a man must try to kill the moon. The moon runs away. But imagine if a man with each day should have to try and kill the sun. You were born lucky, he thought. And he was sorry for the great fish that had nothing to eat, and his determination to kill him never relaxed in his sorrow for him. How many people will he feed, he thought. But are they worthy to eat him? No, of course not. There is no one worthy of eating him from the manner of his behaviour and his great dignity. I do not understand these things, he thought. It is good that we do not have to try and kill the sun or the moon or the stars. It is enough to live on the sea and kill our true brothers. Now, he thought, I must think about the drag. It has its perils and its merits. I may lose so much line that I will lose it if he makes his effort, and the drag made by the oars is in place, and the boat loses all her lightness. The lightness belongs to both of our suffering. It is my safety, as he has great speed that he has never yet employed. No matter what passes, I must gut the dolphin, so he does not spoil, and eat some of him, and he is strong. Now I will rest an hour more, feel that he is solid and steady before I move back to the stern to do the work and make the decision. In the meantime, I can see how he acts, and if he shows any change. The oars are a good trick. He has reached the time to play for safety. He has much fish still. I saw the hook in the corner of his mouth. He has kept his mouth tight shut. His punishment of the hook is nothing. The punishment of hunger, and that he is against something he does not comprehend, is everything. Rest now, old man. Let him work until your next duty comes. He rested for what he believed to be 2 hours. The moon did not rise now until late, and he had no way of judging the time. Nor was he really resting, except comparatively. He was still bearing the pull of the fish across his shoulders, but he placed his left hand on the gunwale on the bow, and provided more and more of the resistance to the fish. How simple it would be if I could make the line fast, he thought. With one small lurch he could break it. I must cushion the pull of the line with my body, and at all times be ready to give line with both hands. You have not slept yet, old man, he said aloud. It is half a day and a night now, and another day you have not slept. You must advise away so you can sleep a little. It is quiet and steady. If you do not sleep, you might become unclear in the head. Unclear enough in the head, he thought. Too clear. I'm as clear as the stars that are my brothers. Still, I must sleep. I sleep, and the moon and the sun sleep, and even the ocean sleeps sometimes, certain days when there is no current, flat calm. But remember to sleep, he thought. Make yourself do it, and devise some simple and sure way about the lines. Now go back and prepare the dolphin. It is too dangerous to rig the oars as a drag, and you must sleep. I will go without sleeping, he told himself. It would be too dangerous. He started to work his way back into the stern, on his hands and knees, being careful not to jerk against the fish. He may be half asleep himself, he thought, but I do not want him to rest. He must pull until he dies. Back in the stern he turned. His left hand held the strain of the line across his shoulders, and drew his knife from its sheath with his right hand. The stars were bright now, and he saw the dolphin clearly, and he pushed the blade of his knife into his head, and drew him out from under the stern. He put one of his feet on the fish and slit him quickly from the vent up to the tip of his lower jaw. Then he put his knife down and gutted him with his right hand, scooping him clean and pulling the gills clear. He felt the maw heavy and slippery in his hand as he slid it open. There were 2 flying fish inside. They were fresh and hard, and he laid them out side by side and dropped the guts and the gills over the stern. They sank, leaving a trail of phosphorescence in the water. The dolphin were cold, and left its grey-white now in the starlight. The old man skinned one side of him, while he held his right foot on the fish's head. Then he turned him over and skinned the other side, cut each side off from the head down to the tail. He slid the carcass overboard and looked to see if there were any swirl in the water. There was only the light of its slow descent. He turned then and placed the 2 flying fish inside the 2 fillets of fish. Putting his knife back in its sheath, he worked his way slowly to the bow. His back was bent with the weight of the line across it, and he carried the fish in his right hand. Back in the bow, he laid the 2 fillets of fish out on the wood, the flying fish beside them. After that, he settled the line across his shoulders in a new place, and held it again with his left hand resting on the gunwale. Then he leaned over the side and watched the flying fish in the water, noting the speed of the water against his hand. His hand was phosphorescent from skinning the fish, and he watched the flow of the water against it. The flow was less strong, and as he rubbed the side of his hand against the plank of the skiff, particles of phosphorescence floated up, drifted slowly astern. He is tiring, but he is resting, the old man said. Now let me get through the eating of this dolphin with some rest and a little sleep. Under the stars, with the night colder all the time, he ate half of one of the dolphin fillets and one of the flying fish, gutted it with its head cut off. An excellent fish dolphin is to eat cooked, he said, or the miserable fish raw. They will never go in a boat again without salt or lambs. If I had brains, I would have splashed water on the bow all day, dry, and it would have made salt, he thought. Then I did not hook the hot dolphin until almost sunset. Still, it was a lack of preparation. I have chewed it all well, and I am not nauseated. The sky was clouding over in the east. One after another the stars he knew were gone. It looked now as though he was moving into a great canyon of cloud, and the wind had dropped. It will be bad weather in 3 or 4 days, he said. Not tonight, and not tomorrow. Rig now to get some sleep, old man, while the fish is calm and steady. He held the line tight in his right hand, and then pushed his thigh against his right hand as he leaned all his weight against the wood of the bow. Then he passed the line a little lower in his shoulder and braced his left hand on it. My right hand can hold it as long as it is braced. If it relaxes in my sleep, my left hand will wake me as the line goes out. It is hard on the right hand, he is used to punishment, Even if I sleep 20 minutes or half an hour, it's good. He lay forward, cramping himself against the lion with all his body, putting all his weight onto his right hand. He was asleep. He did not dream of the lion, instead of a vast school of porpoises that stretched for 8 or 10 miles. And it was in time that they mated that they would leap high into the air, return to the same hole they had made in the water where they left it. Then he dreamed that you were in the village on his bed, and there were a norther who were very cold. His right arm was asleep because his head rested on it instead of a pillow. After that, he began to dream of the long yellow beach. He saw the first of the lions come down with the early dark, and then the other lions came. He rested his chin on the wood of the bow. The ship lay anchored with the evening offshore breeze, and he waited to see if there would be more lions. He were happy. The moon had been up for a long time, but he slept on. The fish pulled on steadily, and the boat moved into a tunnel of cloud. He woke with a jerk of his right fist coming up against his face, and the line burning out through his right hand. He had no feeling of his left hand, but he braked all he could with his right, and the line rushed out. Finally, his left hand found the line, and he leaned back against the line, and now it burned his back, and his left hand were taking all the strain and cut badly. He looked back at the coils of line. They were feeding smoothly. Just then the fish jumped, making a great bursting of ocean, and then a heavy fall. And he jumped again and again. The boat was going fast, and the line was still racing out. The old man was raising the strain to breaking point, raising it to breaking point again and again. He was pulling down tight on the bow, his face was in the cut side of the dolphin, and he could not move. This is what we waited for, he thought. So now let's take it. They can pay for the line, he thought. They can pay for it. He could not see the fishes jump, but only heard the breaking of the ocean, and the heavy splash in his belly. The speed of the line was cutting his hands badly, but he had always known this would happen. He tried to keep the cutting across his callous parts and not let the line slip into the palm or cut the fingers. If the boy were here, he would wet the coils of the line, he thought. Yes, if the boy were here, the boy were here. The line went out and out, but it was slowing down now. They were making the fish earn each inch of it. Now he got his head up from the wood and out the slice of fish that his cheek had crushed. Then he were on his knees, and then he rose slowly to his feet. He was seeing the line, but more slowly all the time. He worked back to where he could feel with his foot the coils of line he could not see. There were plenty of line still, and now the fish had to pull the friction of all that new line through the water. Yes, he thought. And now he has jumped more than a dozen times, filled the sacks along his back with air, and he cannot go down deep to die where I cannot bring him up. He will start circling soon, and then I must work on him. I wonder what started him so suddenly. Could it have been hunger that made him desperate? Was he frightened by something in the night? Maybe he suddenly felt fear. He was such a calm, strong fish, and he seemed so fearless and so confident. It's strange. You better be fearless and confident yourself, old man, he said. You're holding her again, but you cannot let it get light. But soon he has to circle. The old man held him with his left hand and his shoulders now, stooped down and scooped up water in his right hand, get the crushed dolphin flesh off his face. He was afraid that it might nauseate him, he would vomit and lose his strength. When his face was cleaned, he washed his right hand in the water over the side, and then let it stay in the water while he watched the first light come before the sunrise. He had it almost east, he thought. It means he is tired and going with the current. Soon he will have to circle, and our true work begins. After he judged that his right hand had been in the water long enough, he took it out and looked at it. It is not bad, he said. The pen does not matter to a man. He took hold of the line carefully, so that it did not fit in any of the fresh line cuts, and shifted his weight so that he could pull his left hand into the sea on the other side of his head. You did not do so badly for something worthless, he said to the left hand. There were moments when I could not find you. Why was I not born with two good hands? Perhaps it was my fault for not training that one properly. God knows he has had enough chances to learn. He did not do so badly in the night though. He has only cramped once. If he cramps again, let the line cut him off. When he thought that, he knew he was not being clear-headed. He thought he should chew some more of the dolphin. But I can't, he told himself. It's better to be light-headed than to lose your strength from nausea. And I know I cannot keep it if I eat it. My face was in it. I will keep it for an emergency until it goes bad. It is too late to try for strength, now for nourishment. Stupid, he told himself. Eat the other flying fish. Over there, cleaned and ready. He picked it up with his left hand and ate it, chewing the bones carefully and eating all of it down to the tail. There's more nourishment than almost any fish, he thought. At least the kind of strength that I need. Now I've done what I can. Then begin the circle and let the fight come. The sun was rising for the third time since he had put to sea when the fish started the circle. I'm going to pause now and have my drink of water, since I think we're about to get into a big moment. It seems a bit dark for it. I think I'm going to stick with the decision to save my commentary to the end. I think I need to see the old shape of this before I can feel comment. The sun was rising for the third time since he had put to sea. The fish started a circle. He could not see by the slant of the line that the fish was circling. Too early for that. He just felt a faint slackening of the pressure of the line, and he commenced to pull on it gently with his right hand. It tightened as always. Just when he reached the point where it would break, the line began to come in. He slipped his shoulders and head from under the line and began to pull in line steadily and gently. He used both of his hands in a swinging motion. He tried to do the pulling as much as he could with his body and his legs. His whole legs and shoulders pivoted with the swinging and the pulling. It was a very big circle, he said, that he is circling. And the line would not come in anymore, and he held it until he saw the drops jumping from it, the sun. Then it started out, and the old man knelt down and let it go gradually back into the dark water. He's making the third part of his circle now, he said. I must hold all I can, he thought. The strain will shorten his circle each time. Perhaps in an hour I'll see him. Now I must convince him, and then I must kill him. The fish kept on circling slowly, and the old man was wet with sweat and tired deep down into his bones 2 hours later. But the circles were much shorter now, and from the way his line slanted he could tell the fish had risen steadily while he swam. For an hour the old man had been seeing black spots before his eyes, and the sweat salted his eyes and started to cut over his eyes and on his forehead. He was not afraid of the black spots. They were normal at the tension that he was pulling on the line. Twice though he had felt faint and dizzy, and that had worried him. I could not fail myself and die on a fish like this, he said, now that I am becoming so beautiful. God help me endure. I'll say 100 Our Fathers and 100 Hail Marys. I cannot say them now. Consider them, said, he thought. I'll say them later. Just then he felt a sudden banging and jerking on the line, and he held with his 2 hands. It was sharp and hard feeling and heavy. He's hitting the wire leader with his spear. We're bound to come. He had to do that. It may make him jump though. I would rather he stayed circling now. The jumps were necessary for him to take care. But after that, each one can widen the opening of the hook and throw the hook. Don't jump, fish, he said. Don't jump. The fish hit the wire several times more. And each time he shook his head, the old man gave up a little laugh. Must hold this pain where he is. Mine does not matter. I can control mine. But his pain could drive him mad. After a while, the fish stopped beating the wire and started circling slowly again. The old man was gaining line steadily now, but he felt faint again. He lifted some seawater with his left hand and put it on his head, and he put more on and rubbed the back of his neck. I have no cramps, he said. Be up soon and I can last. You have to last. Don't even speak of it. He kneeled against the bow, for a moment slipped the line over his back again. I rest now when he goes out in the circle, and stand up and walk on him when he comes back, he decided. It were a great temptation to rest in the bow and let the fish make one circle by himself without recovering any line. When the strain showed the fish had turned to come towards the boat, the old man rose to his feet and started the pivoting and the weaving, pulling and brought in all the line again. I'm tighter than I have ever been, he thought, and now the trade wind is rising. That will be good to take him in with. I need that badly. I'll rest on the next turn as he goes out, he said. I feel much better, and in 2 or 3 more turns more I will have him. His straw hat was far on the back of his head, and he sank down into the bow with a pull of the line, as he felt the fish turn. You work now, fish, he thought. I'll take you in turn. The sea had risen considerably. It was a fair weather breeze, and he had to have it to get home. And just steer south and west, he said. A man is never lost at sea as long as it is a long island. And on the 3rd turn, he saw the fish first. He saw him first as a dark shadow. It took so long to pass under the boat that he could not believe his light. No, he said. can't be that long. He was that big. At the end of the circle he came to the surface, only 30 yards away, and the man saw his tail out of water. Were higher than a big scythe blade, a very pale lavender above the dark blue water. Right back as the fish swam just below the surface, the old man could see his huge bulk and the purple stripes that banded him. His dorsal fin were down, and his huge pectorals were spread wide. On this circle the old man could see the fish's arms, and the two grey sucking fish that swam around him. Sometimes they attached themselves to him, sometimes they darted off, sometimes they would swim easy in his shadow. They were each over 3 feet long, and they swam fast, they lashed their whole body like him. The old man was sweating now, from something else beside the sun. On each calm, placid turn the fish made, he would gain in line. He was sure that in 2 turns more he would have a chance to get the harpoon in. I must get him close, close, close. I mustn't try for the head, I must get the arm. Be calm and strong, old man, he said. On the next circle the fish's back were out. We were a little too far from the boat. On the next circle he was still too far away. We were out of the water, and the old man was sure that by gaining some more line he could have put him alongside. He had rigged his harpoon long before. His coil of light rope were in a brown basket at the end made fast to the picks in the bow. The fish were coming in a circle now, calm and beautiful looking, and only a great tail moving. The old man pulled in all he could to bring him closer. For just a moment the fish turned a little on his side, and he straightened himself and began another circle. I moved him, the old man said. I moved him then. He felt faint again now. He held on to the great fish all the strain. He felt faint again now. He held on to the great fish all the strain that he could. I moved him, he thought. Maybe this time I can get him over. Full hands, he thought. Hold up legs. Blasphemy, Ed. Blasphemy, you never win. This time I'll pull him over. When he put all of his effort on, started to well out, before the fish came alongside, pulling with all his strength, the fish pulled part way over, and then righted himself and swam away. Fish, the old man said. Fish, you are going to have to die anyway. You have to kill me too. That way nothing is accomplished, he thought. His mouth was too dry to speak. He could not reach for the water now. Must get him alongside this time, he thought. I'm not good for many more turns. Yes, you are, he told himself. You're good forever. On the next turn he nearly had him, but again the fish righted himself and swam slowly away. You're killing me, fish, the old man thought. You ever had to? Never have seen a greater, a more beautiful, calmer or more noble thing than you, brother. Come on and kill me. I do not care who kills who. Now you're getting confused in the head. You must keep your head clear. Keep your head clear and know how to suffer like a man. Or a fish, thought. Clear it up, head, he said in a voice of laughing. Clear it up. Twice more it was the same on the turn. I do not know, the old man thought. He had been on the point of feeling himself go each time. I do not know. I will try it once more. He tried it once more, and felt himself going with the fish when he turned the fish. The fish righted himself and swam off again, slowly, with the great tail weaving in the air. I'll try it again, the old man pondered, although his hands were mushing now, and he could only see well in flashing. He tried it again, the same, he thought, and he felt himself going before he started. I will try it once again. He took all his pain and what were left of his strength, and his long gone pride, and he put it against the fish's side. The fish came over onto his side and swam gently on the side, his bill almost touching the planking of the skiff, and started to pass the boat, long, deep, wide, silver and barbed with purple and interminable in the water. The old man dropped the line and put his foot on it, and lifted the harpoon as high as he could, and drove it down with all his strength. With more strength he had just summoned into the fish's side, just beyond the great chest fin that rose high in the air to the altitude of the man's chest. He felt the iron go in, and he leaned on it and drove it further, and then pushed all his weight after it. Then the fish came alive, with death in him, and rose high out of the water, showing all his great length and width, and all his power and his beauty. He seemed to hang in the air above the old man and the skiff, and he fell into the water with a crash, and sent spray over the old man, and over all of the skiff. The old man felt faint and sick. He he could not see well. But he cleared the harpoon line and let it run slowly through his raw hands, and when he could see, he saw the fish on his back with the silver belly up. The shaft of the harpoon was projecting at an angle from the fish's shoulder, and the sea would discolour him with the red of the blood in his arm. First it was dark as a shoal in the blue water, more than a mile deep, and it spread like a cloud. The fish was silvery and still and floated with the water. The old man looked carefully in the glimpse of vision that he had. Then he took 2 hands to the harpoon around the bit of the bow and laid his hand on his hand. Then his head on his hand. "With my head clear," he said against the wood of the bow. "I am a tired old man. I have killed this fish, which is my brother. And now I must do the slave work. Now I must prepare the nooses and the rope to lash him alongside it. Even if we were 2 and swapped her, to load him and bailed her out, the skiff would never hold him. I must prepare everything then, bring him in and lash him well and sleep the mast and set sail for home." He started to pull the fish in to have him alongside, so he could pass a line through his gills and out his mouth and make his head fast alongside the bow. "I want to see him," he thought, "and to touch and to feel him. He is my fortune," he thought. "That is not why I wish to feel him. I think I felt his heart," he thought, when I pushed on the harpoon shaft the second time. "Bring him in now, and make him fast and get the noose around his tail, and another around his middle to bind him to the skiff. With the work, old man," he said. I took a very small drink of the water. "There is very much slave work to be done now the fight is over." He looked up in the sky and then out at the fish. He looked at the sun carefully. It is not much more than noon, he thought. The trade wind is rising. Then the lines will mean nothing now. The boy and I will splice them on their own. "Come on, the fish," he said. But the fish did not come. Instead he lay there, wallowing now in the seas, and the old man pulled the skiff up on him. When he were even with him, and he had the fish head against the bow, he could not believe his size. So he untied the harpoon rope from the bit, passed it through the fish's gills and out his jaws, and made turn around his sword, and then passed the rope through the other gill, made another turn around the bill, and knotted the double rope, and made it fast to the bit in the bow. He cut the rope then, and went astern and unloosed the tail. The fish had turned silver from his original purple and silver, and the stripes showed the same pale violet colour as his tail. They were wider than a man's hand, with his fingers spread. The fish's eyes looked as detached as the mirrors in a periscope, as a saint in the procession. "It was the only way to kill him," the old man said. He was feeling better since the water, and he knew he would not go away, and his head was clear. "He's over 1,500 pounds, the way he is," he thought. "Maybe much more. If he dresses out 2/3 of that, 30 cents a pound. I need a pencil for that," he said. "My head is not that clear. But I think the great DiMaggio would be proud of me today. I had no bone spurs. The hands and the back hurt truly. I wonder what a bone spur is," he thought. "Maybe we have them without knowing of it." He made the fish fast to the bow and stern of the middle thwart. It was so big it was like lashing a much bigger skiff alongside. He cut a piece of line and tied the fish's lower jaw against his bill, so his mouth would not open and they would sail as cleanly as possible. Then he stepped the mast, and with a stick that was his gaff and his boom ring, the patch sail drew, the boat began to move, and half lying in the stern he sailed southwest. He did not need a compass to tell him where southwest was. He only needed to feel the trade wind and the drawing of the sail. "I better put a small line out with a spoon on it to try and get something to eat and drink for the moisture." He could not find the spoon, and his sardines were rotten. So he hooked a patch of yellow gulf weed with the gaff as they passed, and shook it so the small shrimp that were in it fell on the planking of the skiff. There were more than a dozen of them, and they jumped and kicked like sand fleas. The old man pinched their heads off with his thumb and forefinger and ate them, chewing upon the shells and the tails. They were very tiny. They knew they were nourishing, and they tasted good. The old man still had 2 drinks of water in the bottle, and he used half of one after he had eaten the shrimps. The skiff was sailing well, considering the handicap, and he steered with the tiller in his arm. He could see the fish, and he had only to look at his hands and feel his back against the stern, to know that this had truly happened and was not a dream. At one time, when he was feeling so badly towards the end, he had thought perhaps it was a dream. Then, when he had seen the fish come out of the water and hang motionless to the sky before he fell, he was sure there was some great strangeness, and he could not believe it. And he could not see well, although now he saw as well as ever. Now he knew there was the fish, and his hands and back were no drink. The hands cure quickly, he thought. I've bled them clean, and the salt water will heal them. The dark water of the true Gulf is the greatest healer that there is. All I must do is keep the head clear. The hands had done their work, and we will sail well. With his mouth shut, his tail straight down, we sailed like brothers. Then his head started to become a little unclear, and he thought, is he bringing me in, or am I bringing him in? If I were towing him behind, there would be no question. Nor if the fish were in the skiff, the little Dick that he'd gone, there would be no question either. They were sailing together, lashed side by side. The old man thought, let him bring me in if it pleases him. I am only better than him through trickery, and he meant me no harm. They sailed well, and the old man soaked his hands in the salt water, and tried to keep his head clear. There were high cumulus clouds, and enough cirrus above them so that the old man knew the breeze would last all night. The old man looked at the fish constantly, to make sure it were true. They were an hour before the first shark hit him. The shark were not an accident. He had come up from deep down in the water as the dark cloud of blood had settled and dispersed in the mile deep sea. He had come up so fast and absolutely without caution that he broke the surface of the blue water and were in the sun. Then he fell back into the sea and picked up the scent and started swimming on the course of the skiff the fish had taken. Sometimes he lost the scent, but he would pick it up again, or have just a trace of it, and he swam fast and hard on the course. They were a very big mako shark, built to swim as fast as the fastest fish in the sea, and everything about him were beautiful except his jaws. His back were blue as a swordfish, and his belly was silver, and his eyes were smooth and handsome. He was built as a swordfish, except for his huge jaws, which were tight shut now as he swam fast, just under the surface with his eye dorsal fin knifing through the water without wavering. Inside the closed double lip of his jaws, all of his 8 rows of teeth were slanted inward. They were not the ordinary pyramid-shaped teeth of most sharks. They were shaped like a man's fingers, and they are crisp like claws. They were nearly as long as the fingers of the old man, and they had a razor-sharp cutting edge on both sides. This were a fish built to feed on all the fish of the sea. They were so fast and strong and well armed that they had no other enemy. Now he speeded up as he smelled the fresher scent, and his blue dorsal fin cut the water. When the old man saw him coming, he knew that this was a shark that had no fear at all, and would do exactly what he wished. He prepared the harpoon and made the rope fast while he watched the shark come on. The rope was short, as it lacked what he had cut away to lash the fish. The old man's head was clear, good now, and he was full of resolution, but he had little hope. But too good to last, he thought. He took one look at the great fish as he watched the shark close. It might as well have been a dream, he thought. I cannot keep him from hitting me. Maybe I can get him Tussa, but bad on your mother. The shark closed fast astern. When he hit the fish, the old man saw his mouth open, with strange eyes and clicking chop of the teeth as he drove forward in the meat just above the tail. The shark's head was out of the water, his back was coming out, and the old man could hear the noise of skin and flesh ripping on the big fish when he rammed the harpoon down onto the shark's head at the spot where the line between his eyes intersected, the line that ran straight back from his nose. There were no such lines. There were only the heavy, sharp blue head, big eyes, clicking, thrusting, all swallowing jaws. That was the location of the brain, and the old man hit it. He hit it with his blood-mushed hands, driving a good harpoon with all his strength. He hit it without hope, but with revolution, complete malignancy. The shark swung over, and the old man saw his eyes, was not alive. Then he swung over once again, wrapping himself in 2 loops of the rope. The old man knew that he was dead, and the shark would not accept him. Then on his back, with his tail lashing and his jaws clicking, the shark plowed over the water at the speed the boat does. As a speedboat does. The water was white where his tail beat it, and 3/4 of his body were clear above the water when the rope came taut, shivered, then snapped. The shark lay quietly for a little while on the surface. The old man watched him, and he went down very slowly. "Look about 40 pounds, the old man said aloud. "I took my harpoon too and all the rope. Now my fish bleeds again, and there will be others." He did not like to look at the fish anymore, since he had been mutilated. When the fish had been hit, it was as though he would have killed himself, as though he himself were hit. "I killed the shark that hit my fish," he thought. "And it was the biggest dentuso I've ever seen. And God knows that I've seen big ones. It was too good to last," he thought. "I wish it had been a dream now, and I had never hooked a fish. I was alone in my bed, with my newspaper." "The man is not made for this," he said. A man can be destroyed, not defeated. I'm sorry that I killed the fish, though, he thought. Now the bad time is coming, and I do not even have the outfit. The Ventuso is cruel, able and strong and intelligent. Though more intelligent than he was. Perhaps not. Perhaps they're only better armed. Not think, old man, he said aloud. Sail on this course and take it when it comes. But I must think, he thought, because it is all I have left. I'm baseball. Wonder how the great DiMaggio would have liked the way I hit him with the brain. It were no great thing, he thought. Any man could do it. Do you think my hands are a greater handicap as those bone spurs? I cannot know. I never had anything wrong with my heel, except the time the stingray stung it when I stepped on it swimming, paralysed the lower leg and made the unbearable pain. Think about something cheerful, old man, he said. Every minute now you are closer to home. You say lighter for the loss of what down. He knew quite well the pattern of what could happen when he reached the Vienna partner current. They were not going to be done now. Yes, there is, he said aloud. I can lash my knife with the butt of one of the oars. So he did that with the tiller under his arm, the sheet of sail under his foot. Now, he said, I am still an old man. I am not armed. The breeze was fresh now, and he sailed on well. He watched only the forward part of the fish, and some of his outward turn. He is silly not to hope, he thought. Besides, I believe it is a sin. Do not think about sin, he thought. There are enough problems now without sin. Also, I have no understanding of it. I have no understanding of it, and I am not sure I believe in it. Perhaps it were a sin to kill the fish. I suppose it were, even though I only did it to keep me alive, feed many people. But everything is a sin. Do not think about sin. It is much too late for that. There are people who are paid to do it. Let them think about it. You were born to be a fisherman, and the fish were born to be a fish. San Pedro were a fisherman, as were the father of the great DiMaggio. But he liked to think about all things that he were involved in, and since there were nothing else to read, and he did not have a radio, he thought of it much. He kept on thinking about sin. You did not kill the fish only to keep alive and sell for food, he thought. You killed him for pride, and because you were a fisherman. You loved him when they were alive, and you loved him after. If you love him, it is not a sin to kill him, or is it more? You think too much, old man, he said aloud. You enjoyed killing the Dentusa, he thought. He lives on the fish as you do. He's not a scavenger. Nor just move appetite as some sharks are. He is beautiful and noble, and knows no fear of anything. I killed him in self-defense, the old man said aloud. I killed him well. Besides, he thought, everything kills everything else in some way. Fishing kills me exactly as it keeps me alive. The boy keeps me alive, he thought. I must not deceive myself too much. He leaned over the side and pulled loose a piece of the meat of the fish with a sharp cutting. He chewed on it and noticed its quality and its good taste. It were firm and juicy, like meat, but were not too red. There were no stringiness in it, and he knew that it would bring the highest price in the market. There were nowhere to keep the scent out of the water. The old man knew that a very bad time was coming. The breeze was steady. It backed a little further into the northeast. He knew that meant that it would not fall off. The old man looked ahead of him. He could see no sails, nor could he see the hull or the smoke of any ship. There were only the flying fish that went up from his bow, sailing away to either side, and the yellow patches of Gulf War. He could not even see a bird. He had sailed for 2 hours, resting in the stern and sometimes chewing a bit of the meat from the marlin, trying to rest and be strong. He saw the first of the 2 sharks. Aye, he said aloud. There is no translation for this word. And perhaps it is just a noise that man might make, voluntarily, feeling the nail go through his hands and into the wood. Galanos, he said aloud. He had seen the second fin now, coming up behind the first, and had identified them as shovel-nosed sharks with a brown triangular fin and sweeping movement of the tail. They had the scent and were excited, and in the stupidity of their great hunger, they were losing and finding the scent in their excitement. They were closing all the same. The old man made the sheet fast and jammed the tiller. They took up the oar with a knife and lashed to it. He lifted it as lightly as he could, because his hands rebelled at the pain, and he opened and closed them when it lightly to loosen them. He closed them firmly so they would take the pain now and would not flinch, and watch the sharks come. He could see their wide, flattened, shovel-pointed heads now, and their white-tipped, white-capped both wide pectoral fins. They were hateful sharks, bad-smelling scavengers as well as killers. When they were hungry, they would bite at the oar of a rudder or boat. But with these sharks, they cut the turtles' legs and flippers off when the turtles were asleep on the surface. And they would hit a man in the water if they were hungry, even if the man had no smell of fish, or blood, or flesh flying on him. Aye, said the old man. Galanos. Come on, Galanos. They came. But they did not come as the make would come. One turned and went out of sight under the skiff, and the old man could feel the skiff shake as he jerked it forward on the fish. The other watched the old man with his slitted yellow eyes, and then came in fast with his half-circle of jaws wide to hit the fish, who had already been bitten. The line showed clearly on top of his brown head, the back where his brain joined the spinal cord, and the old man drove the knife on the oar into the juncture, drove it again into the shark's yellow cat-like eyes. The shark let go of the fish and slid down, swallowing what he had taken as he died. The skiff was still shaking with the destruction the other shark was doing to the fish. The old man let go of the sheets and the skiff would swing broadside, bring the shark out from under. When he saw the shark, he leaned over the side and punched it. He hit only me, and the eye was set hard, and barely got the knife in. The blow hurt not only his hand, but his shoulder too. The shark came up fast with his head out, and the old man hit him squarely in the centre of his flat-top head, as his nose came out of the water and lay against the fish. The old man withdrew the blade and punched the shark exactly in the same spot again. He still hung to the fish with his jaws up. The old man stabbed him in his left eye. The shark still hung there. No, the old man said, and he drove the blade between the vertebrae and the brain. It were an easy shot now, and he felt the cartilage sever. The old man reversed the oar and put the blade between the shark's jaws to open them. He twisted the blade, and the shark slid loose. He said, "Go on, Galano. Slide down and mind you. We'll see your fin. Maybe it's your mother." The old man wiped the blade off his knife, laid down the oar. Then he found the sheet and the sail filled, and they brought the skiff onto her course. They must have taken a quarter of him, and they're the best meat, he said aloud. I wish it were a dream that I had never hooked him. I'm sorry about the fish. It makes everything wrong. He stopped. He did not hope. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. Lamp has set some little alarm wards around the library so if a beast has gone by, I can know at a time and get out of the way. Oh, still seems like it's gone past. We'll carry on. They must have taken a quarter of him, and the best meat, he said aloud. I wish it were a dream that I had never looked at. I'm sorry about it, fish. It makes everything wrong. He stopped and did not want to look at the fish now. Drained the blood in the wash, looked at the colour of the silver backing of the mirror. Its drops still showed. I shouldn't have gone out so far, fish, he said. Neither for you or for me. I'm sorry, fish. Now, he said to himself, look at the lashing of the knife and sees it's been cut. Get your hand in order, because there is still some more to come. I wish I had a stone for the knife, the old man said after he checked the lashing on the oar butt. I should have brought a stone. Should have brought many things, he thought. Did not bring them, old man. Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is. You give me much good counsel, he said aloud. I'm tired of it. He held the tiller under his arm and soaked both his hands in the water as the skiff drove forward. God knows how much that last one took, he said. She's much lighter now. He did not want to think of the mutilated underside of the fish. He knew that each of the jerking bumps of the shark had been meat torn away. and the fish now made a trail for all sharks as wide as an armway through the sea. You're a fish to keep a man all winter, he thought. Don't think of that. Just rest and try to get your hands in shape to defend what's left of it. The blood smell from my hands means nothing now, with all that scent in the water. Besides, they do not bleed much. There's nothing cut that means anything. The bleeding may keep the left from cramping. What can I think of now, he thought. Nothing. I must think of nothing and wait for the next one. I wish it had really been a dream, he thought. But who knows? It might have turned out well. The next shark that came with a single shovel nose. It came like a pig to the trough. The pig had a mouth so wide you could put your head in it. The old man let him hit the fish and then drove the knife on the oar down into his brain. The shark jerked backwards as he rolled and the knife blade snapped. The old man settled himself to stare. He did not even watch the big shark slinking slowly into the water, showing first life signs, small and tiny. That always fascinated the old man. He did not even watch it now. "I have the gaff now," he said. "You've done no good. I have the 2 oars and the tiller and the short club. Now they have beaten me," he thought. "I'm too old to club sharks to death. But I will try it as long as I have the oars and the short club and the tiller." He put his hands in the water again to soak them. Getting late in the afternoon, and he saw nothing but the sea and the sky. There were more wind in the sky than there had been. Soon he hoped he would see land. "You're tired, old man," he said. "Tired, sad." The sharks did not hit him again until just before sunset. The old man saw the brown fins coming along the wide trail the fish must make in the water. They were not even quartering on the scent. They were headed straight for the skiff, swimming side by side. He jammed the tiller, made the sheet fast, and reached under the stern for the club. It was an oar handle from a broken oar sawed off to about 2.5 feet in length. He could only use it effectively with one hand because of the grip of the handle, and he took a good hold of it with his right hand, flexing his hand on it as he watched the shark come. They were both gualanos. "I must let the first one get a good hold, then hit him on the point of the nose, straight across the top of the head." The 2 sharks closed together. As he saw the one nearest to him open his jaws, sinking into the silver side of the fish, he raised the club high and brought it down heavy and sloughing onto the top of the shark's broad head. He felt the rubbery solidity as the club came down, but he felt the rigidity of bone too. He struck the shark once more hard across the point of the nose as it slid down from the fish. The other shark had been in and out, and now came in again with his jaws wide. The old man could see pieces of the meat, with the fish spilling white from the corner of his jaws as he bumped the fish and closed his jaws. He swung at him and hit only the head, and the shark looked at him and wrenched the meat loose. The old man swung the club down on him again as he slipped away to swallow it, and hit only the heavy, solid rubberiness. "Come on, Galano," the old man said. "Come in again." The shark came in a rush, and the old man hit him as he shut his jaws. He hit him solidly, and from as high up as he could raised the club. This time he felt the bone at the base of the brain, and he hit him again in the same place. The shark tore the meat loose sluggishly and slid down from the fish. The old man watched for him to come again, but neither shark showed. Then he saw one on the surface swimming in circles. He did not see the fin of the other. "I could not expect to kill them," he thought. "I could have in my time, but I've hurt them both badly, and neither one can feel very good. If I could have used a bat with 2 hands, I could have killed the first one, surely. Even now," he thought. He did not want to look at the fish. He knew that half of him had been destroyed. The sun had gone down while he had been in the fight with the sharks. "It will be dark soon," he said, "and I should see the glow of Havana. If I am too far to the eastward, I will see the lights of one of the new beaches. That cannot be too far out," he thought. "I hope no one has been too worried. There's only the boy to worry, of course. I'm sure he would have confidence. Many of the older fishermen will worry. Many others too," he thought. "I live in a good town." He could not talk to the fish anymore, because the fish had been ruined too badly. And something came into his head. "Our fish," he said. "Fish that you were. I am sorry that I went too far out. I ruined us both. We have killed many sharks, you and I, and ruined many others. How many did you ever kill, old fish? You do not have that spear on your head for nothing." I like to think of the fish and what he could do to a shark. He was swimming free. "I should have chopped the bill off to fight them with," he thought. There were no hatchet, there were no knife. If I had, I could have lashed it on one oar, but what a weapon. Then we might have fought them together. What will you do now if they come in the night? can you do? Fight them, he said. I fight them until I die. In the dark now, and no glow showing, no lights, and only the wind and the steady pull of the sail. I felt that perhaps they were already dead. He put his two hands together and felt the palms. They were not dead. They could bring the pain a laugh by simply opening and closing them. He leaned back against the stern, knew he was not dead. His shoulders told him so. I have all those prayers I promised if I caught the fish, he thought. I'm too tired to say them now. I better get the sack and put it over my shoulders. He lay in the stern and steered, and watched for the glow to come in the sky. I have half of him, he thought. Maybe I'll have the luck to ring the forward half in. I should have some luck. No, I said. You violated your luck when you went too far outside. It's silly, he said. Keep awake and steer. You may have much luck yet. I'd like to buy some if there's any place to sell it, he said. What could I buy it with? What could I buy it with, he asked himself. Could I buy it with a lost harpoon and a broken knife and 2 bad hands? You mad, he said. I tried to buy it with 84 days at sea. I nearly sold it to you too. I must not be nonsense, he thought. Luck is a thing that comes in many forms, and who can recognise that? I'll take some though in any form and pay what they ask. I wish I could see the glow from the lights, he thought. I wish too many things. That's the thing I wish for now. He tried to settle more comfortably to steer, and from his pain he knew he was not dead. He saw the reflected glare of the lights of the city at what must have been around 10 o'clock at night. They were only perceptible at first as the lights in the sky before the moon rises. Then they were steady to see across the ocean, which were rough now with the increasing breeze. He steered inside of the glow, and he thought that now, soon, he must hit the edge of the stream. Now it is over, he thought. They'll probably hit me again. What can a man do against them in the dark without a weapon? He was stiff and sore now, his wounds and all the strained parts of his body are cold as night. I hope I do not have to fight again, he thought. I hope so much I do not have to fight again. But by midnight he fought, and this time he knew the fight was useless. They came in a pack, and he could only see the lines in the water, and their fins made, and the phosphorescence as they drew themselves on the fish. He clubbed at heads, and he heard the jaws chop and the shaking of the skiff as they took hold below. He clubbed desperately at what he could only feel and hear. He felt something seize the club when it was gone. He jerked the tiller free from the rudder and beat and chopped with it, holding it in both hands, driving it down again and again. They were up to the bow now, driving in one after the other, together, tearing off pieces of the meat that showed glowing beneath the sea, and it turned to come once more. One came finally against the head itself, and they knew that it were over. He swung the tiller across the shark's head where the jaws were caught in the heaviness of the fish's head, which would not tear. He swung it once, and twice, and again. He heard the tiller break, and he lunged at the shark with a splintered butt. He felt it go in, and, knowing it was sharp, he drove it again. The shark let go and rolled away. That was the last shark of the pack that came, and nothing more for them to eat. The old man could hardly breathe now. He felt a strange taste in his mouth. Coppery and sweet, and were afraid for a moment. There were not much of it. He spat into the ocean and said, "That Galanos, and make a dream you've killed a man." He knew we were beaten now, finally, without remedy. He went back to the stern and found the jagged end of the tiller would fit in the slot of the rudder well enough for him to steer. He settled the sack around his shoulders, and the skiff on her course. He sailed lightly now, and he had no thoughts nor any feelings of any kind. He had passed everything now, and he sailed the skiff to make his own port, as well as intelligently as he could. When the night shark hit the carcass, someone might pick up crumbs from a table. The old man paid no attention to them. He did not pay any attention to anything except steering. He only noticed how lightly and how well the skiff sailed now. There were no great weight beside her. She is good, he thought. She is sound and not harmed in any way except for the tiller. That is easily replaced. He could feel he was inside the current now, and he could see the lights of the beach colonies along the shore. He knew where he was now, and it was nothing to get home. The wind is our friend anyway, he thought. Then he added sometimes. The great sea with our friend and our enemies. And bed, he thought. Bed is my friend. Just bed, he thought. Bed will be a great thing. It is easy when you are beaten, he thought. I never knew how easy it was. And what beat you, he thought. Nothing, he said aloud. Went out to fly. When he sailed into that little harbour, the light of the terrace were out, and he knew everyone were in bed. The breeze had risen steadily and were blowing strongly now. We were quiet in the harbour though. We sailed on the little patch of single below the rocks. There were no one welcome, so we pulled the boat up as far as he could, and he stepped out and made a fast to a rock. He unstepped the mast and furled the sails and tied it. He shouldered the mast and started to climb, but then he knew the depth of his tiredness. He stopped for a moment and looked back and saw in the reflection from the streetlight the great tail of the fish standing up well beyond the skiff's stern. He saw the white naked line of his backbone in the dark mass of the head, the projecting bill, and all the nakedness between. He started to climb again, and at the top he fell and lay for some time with the mast across his shoulder. He tried to get up, but it was too difficult, and he sat there with the mast on his shoulder and looked at the road. The cat passed by on the far side going about his business, and the old man watched him, and he just watched the road. Finally he put the mast down and stood up. He picked the mast up and put it on his shoulder, and he started up the road. He had to sit down 5 times before he reached the shack. Inside the shack he leaned the mast against the wall. In the dark he found a water bottle to drink, and he lay down on the bed. He pulled the blanket over his shoulders and over his back and legs, and he slept face down on the newspaper with his arms out straight, the palms of his hands up. He was asleep when the boy looked in the door in the morning. Blowing so hard that the drifting boats would not be going out, and the boy had slept late and then come to the old man's shack as he had come each morning. The boy saw that the old man was breathing, and then he saw the old man's hands, and he started to cry. He went out very quietly to go and bring some coffee, and all the way down the road he was crying. Many fishermen were around the skiff looking at what was lashed beside them, and one were in the water, his trousers rolled up, measuring the skeleton with a length of line. The boy did not go down. He had been down there before, and one of the fishermen were looking after the skiff for him. "How is he?" one of the fishermen asked. "Sleeping," the boy called. He did not care they saw him crying. Let no one disturb him. He was 18 feet from nose to tail, the fisherman who was measuring him called. "I believe it," the boy said. He went on the terrace and asked for a can of coffee, hot and with plenty of milk and sugar in it. "Anything more?" "No. Afterwards I will see what it is." But a fish it was, the father said. "There has never been such a fish. Those 2 fine fish you took yesterday too. Damn my fish," the boy said, and started to cry again. "You want to drink with the can?" the father asked. "No," the boy said. "Tell him not to bother Santiago. I'll be back. Tell him how sorry I am." "Thanks," the boy said. The boy carried the up can of coffee up to the old man's shack and sat by him until he woke. Once it looked as though he would wake him, but he had gone back into an heavy sleep, and the boy had gone across the road to borrow some wood to heat the coffee. Finally the old man woke. "Don't sit up," the boy said. "Drink this." He poured some of the hot coffee in a glass. The old man took it and drank it. "They beat me, Manolin," he said. "They truly beat me." "He didn't beat you, not the fish." "No. Truly, it was afterwards. Pedricio was looking after the skiff in the gear. What do you want done with the head?" Let Pedricio chop it up to use in the fish tails. "And the spear? You keep it if you want it." "I want it," the boy said. "Now let's make up plans about the other things." "Did they search for me?" "Of course. With Coast Guard and with planes. The ocean is very big and the skiff is small and hard to see," the old man said. He noticed how pleasant it was to have someone to talk to instead of speaking only to himself from the sea. "I missed you," he said. "What did you catch?" "One the first day, one the second, and 2 the third." "Very good. Now we fish together again." "No. I am not lucky. I am not lucky anymore." "The hell with luck," the boy said. "I'll bring the luck with me. What will your family say?" "I do not care. I caught 2 yesterday. We will fish together now, but I still have much to learn. You must get a good killing lance and always have it on board. You can make the blade from a spindle from an old fork. And grind it in Guanabacoa. It should be sharp and not tempered so it will break. My knife broke. I'll get another knife and have the spin ground. How many days of heavy breeze I have? Maybe 3, maybe more." "I will have everything in order," the boy said. "You get your hands well though. I know how to care for them. In the night I smelled something strange and felt something in my chest that broke. Get that well too," the boy said. "Lie down, old man, and I will bring you a clean shirt." something to me. Bring any of the papers of the time that I was gone, the old man said. I must get well fast, for there is much that I can learn, and you can teach me everything. How much did you suffer? Plenty, the old man said. I'll bring the food and the papers, the boy said. Rest well, old man. I'll bring stuff from the drugstore for your hands. Don't forget to tell Federico the Eddies is. No, I will remember. As the boy went out the door and down the worn coral rock road, he was crying again. That afternoon there were a party of tourists at the terrace, and looking down in the water among the empty beer cans and dead barracudas, the woman saw a great long white spine with a huge tail at the end, lifted and swung at the tide. While the east wind blew a heavy, steady sea outside the entrance to the yard. What's that? She asked the waiter, and pointed to the long backbone of the great fish that were now just garbage waiting to go out to the tide. Tiburon, the waiter explained. The shark. It was meaning to explain what had happened. I didn't know sharks had such handsome, beautifully toned tails. I didn't either, the male companion said. Up the road in his shack, the old man was sleeping again. He was still sleeping on his face, and the boy was sitting by him watching. The old man was dreaming about the lion. And that's the end of the old man and the sea. It's funny. I said I would wait until the end because I thought I had to get to the end to sort of understand what I wanted to say about it. But I've gotten the end now and I'm still not entirely clear on it. Let me have a quick sip of water and I'll think. It's funny. Since they haven't offered me those pastilles, I haven't taken them. Didn't think to have one today. Right then, let's see. So, there's a lot in this story. Age is a pretty present part of it. The old man, old, aging. We see much of his life lived, experiences had. What else do we see though? We see that people care for him, and we see that he's wise too. The way he knows the weather, he can tell what it will be. He can navigate himself back to land even without sight of it, not even by the stars but by the wind. He knows his trade. He knows his tricks, and he's a good fisherman too. He pulls in the small fish with pretty easy regularity. And he fights that big fish for days. Like a man, always on the feather edge of the line snapping. Pulls it off. Luck is a big part of it too. He's an unlucky man, I would say. And the biggest fish he's ever seen, eaten by shark, worse luck than no fish. Much worse luck. So do people care for him, so his community, I suppose you could say, is part of it. But there's more too. I think futility is the big thing. All the work he puts in fighting the fish, all the effort, all of a lifetime of fishing and 85 days out in the water. No, not 85 days, 87. Look at that. 3 days out there from the 85th day, so 87 days and comes back. 87 days he was out, nothing, and then he caught fish for 3 weeks solid, and then 87 days he's out with less than nothing to show. All his lines gone, his harpoon gone, his tiller broke, his knife gone. All that, eh? Utility, I suppose. An inversion. Maybe a cyclical sort of inversion of life. Companionship and loneliness. I'm glad I decided to try and do voices for this one again. I stopped after I think it was it in Dubliners or was it the one before Dublin? There were a lot of voices in one. It was during the time machine. The first chapter were nothing but dozens upon dozens of people talking. Not dozens, but about half a dozen. I couldn't keep up. So I quit doing them for a while. But I saw this and I thought I'd give it a go. And I'm glad I did. Because when the old man was talking to himself, and when he was thinking to himself, they were very different. And I feel like you could hear it better, doesn't it? They were like having two separate characters. The things he muttered to himself quietly aloud, and the things he spoke to himself. himself loudly and clearly. Two different people who didn't always get on, arguing about being given good counsel and all. And the fish, the love of the fish. I haven't compared this fellow to Steinbeck, but the way he talks about the fish strikes me as very Londinian in the sort of admiration, sort of camaraderie, the idea of something fighting on the life, something being worthy of respect. The way the fish fought reminds me of how animals fight in London, desperately clinging alive. It's strange. I'm saying so much about this now, but I don't really think I've said anything that wasn't clear from it. That's the oddest thing about this. It's almost like it's the opposite of Dubliners, right? With Dubliners, I read it and there was so much there and I couldn't bring much of it to the surface, no matter how hard I tried. And then here, with this one, there's plenty here, and I'm bringing it all to the surface. But as I bring it to the surface, it's like there's nothing to bring up. All of it were right there, clear as hand. Clear at hand, I should say. It's interesting. It's a good text, there's plenty to it. And it's all very apparent, too. It's strange. I think that makes it better than Dubliners, and perhaps more approachable. Maybe it does in some respect, I don't know. It's almost vexing, really. I'm trying to think of something to say, or some symbol that was unclear that I could talk about, consider. Everything about it seems to me very straightforward in the story-wise. All the themes very clearly expressed and elaborated on. What else can we talk about? Betrayal of the Anne? The way the body betrays you. The arm wrestling match that your arms play. That strikes me as mad, that. An old day of arm wrestling with your nails bleed. Don't know who could do that. That, I suspect, is more of a cool tale. Then I suppose we see it from the thoughts of the man, not any tales. So I suppose we're in the world of the story, it's supposed to at least been taken as true. Which tells you you were a very strong man once. Well, you can see he's a very enduring man even now. Tough as old nails, tough as old leather, tough as old boots. Stepping on man or war. I don't really know what to say more. No? More to say, I should say. There's a lot to this. Quite a lot indeed. But I think it's all pretty clear in itself. I don't know. I don't know how much I like that one. I think it was good. It had lots of things in it that I liked. It leaves me feeling strangely empty. I don't think it's a problem with the book, though. I think it's a problem with what I'm trying to do with the book, if you catch my meaning. The fact that I'm here or supposed to be talking about it, explaining it to you, right? Like Lance wants me to do this, to reflect on it. This book feels so clear in its purpose, clear in what it's trying to say, that I feel superfluous, I guess. I think it's pretty clear what this book's about. I don't know why it's about. Anyway, I think I've said all I can say about it reasonably. So for fear of dragging on, I suppose I should bid you a good night. I hope anyone who's watching this has enjoyed it. I hope anyone who will be watching this in the future has also enjoyed it. I hope if you ever catch a big fish, you can't get away from it. Ta-ra.